Hurricane Highlights, brought to you by Parmenter Langford Insurance. Quality Parts Company. Richard Wynn Pontiac Buick GMC Daihatsu.
Hello and welcome to Hurricane Football Highlights with Coach Mike Earwood. It was a beautiful homecoming night last Friday night at Weinman Stadium, complete with the homecoming floats, pretty girls, and an upstart Coosa team that was determined to spoil the festivities. The Canes fell behind early, trailed at halftime 14-10, and then put together a 20-point second half to come away with a 30-14 win and claim the top spot in Region 7 AA South. Coach, a tough game against a Coosa team that was probably a lot better than the 2-7 record indicates.
They sure were. It was a game that we kind of expected to be flat, and I think we were a little flat emotionally in the first half, but we were able to come back out, start the second half, and get some things going. To Coosa's credit, I've said all year that if they would just go straight at people with those big linemen and the big backs they have, and those backs run very hard, that they would be pretty successful doing that. And early on, I think a couple of the fact that they do run the football pretty well, and the fact that you know, they have such a good size up front, and we were a little emotionally flat, I think that all played a part in their success in the first half.
Well, it happened so many times this season. The defense kind of keyed our comeback, and specifically I'm talking about Tim Green's interception that he brought back for a touchdown, and that play put us ahead 17-14.
And we needed a big play at that point during the contest, and we had an error with the coin toss. Actually, they had deferred the choice to us. We elected to kick, so essentially we had to kick off to start both halves. And with them having possession of the football to start the second half, we needed to make something happen defensively, needed a big play to get the momentum going and to kind of pull us out of our stupor, and that big interception there by Tim really got us going.
It was a 44-yard return, and as you said, it really pulled us out of the doldrums and got us going. And offensively, LaShawn Darby had another great night running the ball, and Tarek Patton had a good night too.
They sure did. They were right on the money as far as their effort, and I thought that those two particularly, even in the first half, ran the ball hard. We just made some key mistakes when we had some scoring opportunities early on, but in the second half, much to their credit, much to the credit of the offensive line, we got things cranked up and got going, and were able to put some points on the board. So I'm very pleased. I was very pleased with the second half.
Well, we did come away with the win, and that's the important thing because we clinched the top spot in Region 7 AA South. And we'll have those highlights coming up in just a minute, but we want to thank our sponsors, Richard Wynn, Pontiac, Buick, GMC Daihatsu, Parmenter and Langford Insurance, and Quality Parts Company, your Napa dealer here in Cartersville. Coach, let's take a look at those highlights now. We finally got a little bit of a cool weather night. There we see some of the homecoming festivities as the girls go by on the float. About 5 o'clock when I got to the stadium, it was warm, and by 6:30 it was freezing.
By 10 o'clock it was getting really cold.
It was real cold. And here we are about to kick off, and Kevin, of course, is kicking off. There we go.
I don't know if we had very many highlights at all in the first half. Beginning with opening kickoff, I don't think we've given up this kind of return all year. So we were not off to a very good start.
And there's that big tight end. It's a college prospect, number 45, Halsey.
He's he's one of the top players around, one of the top players in the state, and he's already been offered by Clemson and Georgia. Very good player.
And here comes their first touchdown, and it is to Halsey.
Yeah, we just make an error in the secondary there, and Lee Belknap's he's a great kid, and he does a super job back there. Just a little bit of a mental lapse, but Lee he's a real winner for us back there in that secondary.
That was an unusual two-point play. They lined up in there with about 8 people to the right, and a snapper and a holder and a kicker on the other side, and ran the option play off of it.
Right, that's something we work against all year, and finally somebody ran it against us.
Here comes Tarek on a good opening run.
I thought we did an excellent job with the counters the other night. The counter plays really made some big yardage for us, that and just a straight dive to Darby.
Our drive stalled, and we had to punt back to them. And, defensively, for the most part, we played pretty well. We had a couple of lapses, but we played pretty well all night.
Well, there was nothing really wrong with the effort. I think some of our mistakes were more concentration related than anything else.
Here comes a big return. We get a penalty, we get a holding call, and it nullifies it, but it's a great return by LaShawn. He runs real hard. And
right there, Robert Richards gets hurt at the end of that, and he's probably out until the Lafayette game. Hope he gets well real soon.
And we come back again. LaShawn has a good run here, just dragging people with him.
I'll tell you, he's had a great year up to this point.
And there he goes again. Big, tough run there.
Just running through people.
Got tripped up there, or he could have gone all the way, I think.
LaShawn was our offensive player of the week because of his effort. Nice touch pass here, just right over the top of the defender to Tarek Patton, and once he hits the sidelines, you can forget it. He's going to go the distance.
John put it right where he had to put it on that. And
nice job.
Of course, Rhett comes in and gets a conversion for us, and we're up 7-6 at this point. Rhett has really come on and done a great job, not only with the conversions, but with the field goals. He hit one the other night, too.
I think the one at Pepperell probably gave him a great deal of confidence.
But they come right back. And that quarterback was deceptive. He's not very big and doesn't look very fast, but next thing we know, he was downfield about 30, 40 yards.
Well, that's just a case where we're just not very attentive to the backside there and playing responsibilities the way we should. And this was a mental error.
At 34 was a big, big fullback. And tough runner, too.
He sure is. He's a load. And the two-point conversion here is a mental error. We just come off of man coverage right there. And, those things normally don't happen when you're really focused. And that was the thing I was really upset about at halftime. And we kind of anticipated it, but the players pulled together at halftime. They knew what they had to do and came out and did it in the second half.
So at this point, we're behind 14-7. Tarek brings the kickoff back, and we take over again. Here's a big play coming up, another good run by LaShawn.
Nice job. Right there, just runs through 2 tacklers, hits the sidelines, and just does a fantastic job of keeping his feet there.
And a drive stalls here, and we kick a field goal. Brett puts it right through the uprights, and at this point, we're down 14-10.
Really, I was glad we came away with 3 points there. I felt like we should have gotten a touchdown, but at least we did get some points. There's big Halsey dragging about 6 or 8 of our players down the field, an additional 10 yards there. And there again, we're just not quite as aggressive inside as we should be at this point. I'd like to mention Derek Richards. I thought he had a great night. He was our defensive player of the week.
And there's Kevin Henderson coming in and making a big play on the quarterback, and that was, I believe, a 3rd down play, and killed their drive, and they had to punt back to us.
All right. Just not really in a 2-minute situation here, just in a hurry-up situation, and trying to get the ball down the field.
Big catch there by Jason Chuff, and we also get a face mask and a drive stall. And halftime, we're still behind 14-10, and as you said, we had to kick off again to them to start the second half.
Real good coverage there by our kickoff team. You can probably see a little difference in the intensity there between the first and the second kickoff.
And the defense is playing a little bit better, and we get we don't recover that fumble, but we at least starting to shake them up a little bit.
Right, starting to make some things happen, and then Tim comes up with a big interception right here and goes the distance with it. I tell you, for a sophomore, Charlie, he's done just an outstanding job this year.
Oh, he really has. He stepped in, played a tough position, and done a great job. And we need to mention Kevin Henderson put a great deal of pressure on that quarterback there too, on that throw too. So we go up at this point 17-14, but we can't feel too comfortable because last time we went up on top of them, they came right back and scored in about 2 plays. But we have good coverage on that kick.
Hopefully our defense right here is playing like they should. See a little better swarming around the ball there.
That was Chris Branton out there making that tackle. This is their shift into punt formation. They did this all night long.
Right.
And we get another good return on this one from LaShawn.
He's just got a knack for it, feel for it, and does a great job there. Good
coming up right here, we've got a good run out of Terrick. We get it called back. We get a holding call.
Actually, it was a clip downfield, but Terrick does a great job of finding the seam and hitting the cutback lane there and making a big play out of it.
But we're not to be denied, and LaShawn comes right back and puts it in. So we go up at this point 23-14, and we kick back off to them.
Great coverage there by Kevin Henderson.
That big fullback, I guess, was that a fullback or a halfback?
That's the fullback.
He is tough running.
So when you put him behind some of the big tackles they had, he really is a load to bring down.
And they punt back to us, and there's no return on this one. They cover it. And a good run here by Silas Ritchie, making his first start of the year.
Silas has a knack for making the first guy miss there, and really accelerates up into the hole and gets some good positive yardage there. Nice route and nice catch by Jason Chuck.
And a nice little run after he catches it, too. Picks up about another 8 or 10 yards.
That was a critical first down for us. There goes shake and bake Patton right there. He has got the quickest feet around.
He really does. And reliable, LaShawn comes in and puts it in the end zone for us, and we'll get Rhett Rutland coming up next to kick the extra point. And it's perfect, and at this point it's 30-14.
You can see they're a lot different football team in the second half. Again, good coverage by our kickoff team. Daniel Morris with a big tackle there.
Big play there. Chris Roberts, Kevin Henderson, John Malden, Ramon George, all in there on the tackle on that one. And that ended the game, and I know you were happy to get away with that win, 30-14.
Coming off the big win at Pepperell, as I said earlier, I expected us to be a little emotionally flat, so you want to be able to get through games like this, and Coosa we knew was going to come at us. They had nothing to lose, and the thing that can happen to you is the same thing that really happened to Pepperell this past weekend when Darlington upset them. They kind of left it on the field the Friday before, and emotionally I'm sure they were very flat as well, and they were not able to overcome it. So you have to be very careful with situations like that, coupled with the fact that it was homecoming and the distractions that go along with homecoming. We felt good about coming out with a 30-14 win.
Well, it was a tough physical game. How did we come away from it from the injury standpoint?
Well, we're pretty banged up right now. Robert Richards is out definitely until the first playoff game. Tim Green has somewhat of a hip injury, but we found out today that he is going to be able to play. We're just going to have to, take it easy on him and see how it goes. Ricky Heath is also out with a hip pointer, and will probably be the first playoff game before he's back. And Devin should be coming back full speed off the bruised thigh. So really 2 key starters that are out, which is going to make us shift some things around. Both of them are tight ends, our number 1, number 2 tight end. So Daniel Morris is going to have to take up the slack there at tight end and at one of the linebacker spots and allow us some time to get these people well.
Well, Model's coming up, and this can be a big win for us because it could give us the best regular season record we've had in about 10 years, I think.
I haven't really looked at it, Charlie, but I know at least since I've been here, we've never had a 9-game season. We've had plenty of 7s and 8s, but never had a 9-game winning season, and so it's a great it's a tribute to these kids, really, that they've hung in some very tough games and been able to pull them out as the year has gone on. So yeah, we're looking. We're going at Model. We've certainly got that as one of the motivating things. Plus, if we're a playoff team, we need to win and get the momentum going into the playoffs.
That's right, and you're going to have to learn to win with some injuries, too, to get as far as you go in the playoffs, because it's a 15-game schedule all the way through, and you need to have people step forward and take up the slack, as you said, to make it all the way.
Exactly. Nobody ever tells you it's easy. Nobody ever says that you're going to go the distance with all 11 guys that you start with. The injury factor is always there, and I think the team's ability to overcome those things and guys ready to step forward and take up the slack carry a lot of weight with the team in the playoffs. So, and I have a lot of confidence in some of our guys that haven't been starting this year. So, we don't have any reservations about playing some of them.
Well, Coach, best of luck this Friday night. We'll be with you, and we'll be cheering for you all the way through the playoffs, and hoping we're around the middle of December this year, too.
Well, that'd be nice.
And we'll take a break right now. And when we come back, we'll have our great moments in Hurricane history. And this week, we'll take a look at the 1988 Lovett game.
When it comes to luxury, nobody offers you more. New styling, new technology, completely redesigned and engineered. The ultimate luxury cars are at your traditional home of value and service. Wynn Pontiac Buick GMC. The 1992 Roadmaster, the 1992 Bonneville, the 1992 Park Avenue. The new symbols for quality in America, and ready for your test drive at Wynn Pontiac Buick GMC.
If you have one of these and one of these, you probably have 2 of these, and that could leave you caught in the middle. Now there's a way to get rid of separate policies and possible gaps and overlaps in coverage. Continental Link Plus gives you insurance for your home and your car in one convenient, cost-efficient policy. You get more protection and more value for your insurance dollar, and the convenience of one number to call when you have a claim, and it's as easy as picking up the phone.
For professional machine shop work, depend on Cliff Klein at Quality Parts on North Tennessee Street. Cliff has operated the machine shop at Quality Parts for over 12 years. So for head work, turning brake drums and rotors, or resurfacing heads, Cliff Klein at Quality Parts Machine Shop is someone you can depend on for quality work and competitive prices. And remember, we work on domestic and import engines and industrial engines, including diesel and gasoline.
Welcome back to Hurricane Football Highlights. This is our great moment in our Hurricane History segment. And tonight we're going to go back to September 23rd, 1988, and take a look at the Lovett game. And Coach, as we were talking off camera, this was a big, big game. We were ranked like 5th or 6th in the state going into this game. Lovett was ranked 2nd. They had Torrey Evans, who's now playing at Georgia, who's a great football player, tremendous high school player. This was homecoming night again, so I know it was a tough game in that respect because we had so many distractions that week, and it was just a great, great football game.
It sure was. It was also the first time that we had scheduled Lovett since they had upset Cartersville in a playoff game. I'm not real sure about the date, but I know it was a big upset when Lovett had Knox Culpeper playing for them, and we were able to get them on the schedule, and they came up to our place, and we really didn't know what kind of team that we were about to take on, but we found out then, and ever since then, that Lovett is a very fine program with a good tradition, and certainly had plenty of super football players in and out of the program.
Another thing, too, was they had a very long streak of regular season victories.
That's right.
Coming into this game, and we were the first team to beat them during the regular season, and they lost some playoff games, but during the regular season for maybe 3 or 4 years.
I'm thinking something like that 3 or 4 year regular season winning streak, and we were able to upset them and kind of end that.
Well, let's get right into those highlights and take a look at that Lovett game. Again, it was homecoming. It was September 23rd, and our captains that night were Todd Jackson and John Noble.
Right.
Of course, we're in the dark jerseys here. This was at Weinman Stadium, and here's the kickoff. Jack Wittenberg. Jack's one that could beam it back.
Oh, he could. Jack had some kind of leg on him.
And this was their little, what was this kid's name?
His name is Pat Wright, and he's playing up at Northwestern now.
I think it was Stephen Garner that came in and made the big hit. And a big catch there. I believe that's John Noble.
Craig Harris to John Noble there, and this was the first year that we had put in the wing tee offense. That's McLean there as a sophomore.
So we had Craig Campbell was one of the linemen. He's at Furman now.
He's playing up at Furman, and had Mike Kennedy playing center for us, and Doug Robertson was the first-year player at the right offensive tackle.
So we were up 7-0. Here Jack's kicking off again, and this is a very unusual kickoff return. This is that little Pat Wright again, and we think we got him stopped right there, and here he comes.
Yeah, he's dangerous.
You just never knew if you had him down or not. The best thing to do was run him out of bounds. Then you knew he couldn't run anymore. And here's their quarterback. I think this kid's name was King. It was the year before Spence Fisher stepped up.
Spence Fisher was on this team, I believe, and a lot of good players that they've had the last couple of years were probably sophomores or freshmen in this film.
They missed the extra point, so we're still ahead 7-6. And that's Stephen Garner making an interception.
Big interception right there.
And a nice run here by Craig Harris on the option. And we throw an interception here. They take over at the 48. Big hit there. I think that was Josh McAfee.
No, it was Robert McAfee.
Robert, that's right.
I'd forgotten about that hit, but that was a pretty devastating blow there.
And they make a big catch here. We have 2 people in on coverage, but one of them mistimes the jump, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. They're up now 13-7. And here's Boyd Morrison recovering a fumble.
That was a big recovery there. It sets up this. We actually got an unbalanced line here and ran the lead option to John away from the unbalanced. And I think this might have been right before the half.
And I think we score on the next play. I'll tell you, that option call was one of the best calls I've ever seen you make. Everybody in the free world thought he was going to run off right tackle. We had 4th and 1, and we ran that back, the option back the other way. And it was just a great play. And here's a fine kickoff return here, too.
Well, this game was really played up awfully big in the newspapers, and our kids really wanted to win this game.
That's Pat Wright again. In fact, we were named the Channel 5 Team of the Week for this game.
Right.
And they try a field goal, and it's wide to the right, but we have a roughing the kicker call.
I still don't believe that. To this day, I still don't believe that. Anyway, the call hurt us and really made a game out of it.
Yeah, and that's Torrey Evans with a touchdown and a big play there where we stopped a 2-point conversion. That's Pat Wright down there, the intended receiver. Big hit here, and I think this was a crucial 3rd down where we forced them to punt. And this sets up one of the big plays, one of the truly great moments in Hurricane history. Craig Harris steps back and hits Andre Athland.
On the post pattern there right before the end of the game, and just a few minutes left in the game, and that
yeah,
almost like the Pepperell game, the other night.
That's right. It was about just under 3 minutes left, and we get a 2-point conversion, and we go up 22-19 with 3:14 left in the game. And of course, they come running right back at us, and we get a big interception out of McLean there.
That pretty well sealed it for us.
So we take over, and I think at that point they were out of timeouts. We have a couple more plays left, and finally, Craig just goes down on one knee and seals the victory. And that was the first of what has become 4 real good football games with Lovett. And as the final score, 22-19, and a big, big win for us.
And that was a sweet victory.
As I said, that was because of that we were named the Channel 5 Team of the Week, and I think it propelled us up to the number 4 ranking in the state. Of course, we had a little bit of carryover into the next game, or I guess a victory hangover into the next game, and go over to Pepperell, and we get beat over there the very next week after that.
All right, well, I was going to say I don't like to talk about those Channel 5 Team of the Week awards too often, because I think we've gotten 2 or 3 of those things, and every time we get one, we've lost the next week. So
we're just not answering telephone calls
right,
from Channel 5 anymore.
Next time Channel 5 wants to give us one of those, I'm probably going to decline.
Okay, well, it's always fun looking at these old films. And Coach, next week we've got the 1964 Dallas game, and our Booster Club president, Charles Floyd, is a star. He tells me anyways, a star in that game.
Infamous Charles Floyd, yes.
So we're looking forward to seeing that. I believe this is a game where he set the rushing record that lasted until Robert Levette came along. So we're mighty anxious to see. It's a 1964 Dallas game, and I think we win that one 39-0. And so that'll be on our next segment of Great Moments in Hurricane History. And coming up after that, we've got the West Rome Region Championship game in 1989, which was a big, big win for us. First time we'd won the region in about 10 years. And then we've got some other films. We've got a 1980 game that was Robert Levette's senior year, and was also a game in which Hal Lamb,
Coach Hal Lamb, right,
played in for Commerce. So we're looking forward to seeing those. So if you've got any old game films, be sure to get them to us, and we'd love to get them on videotape and highlight them as one of our great moments in hurricane history. And we'll take a break right now, and we'll be back with our senior spotlight. This week we have number 65, offensive guard and nose guard, Thane Cochran.
For professional machine shop work, depend on Cliff Klein at Quality Parts on North Tennessee Street. Cliff has operated the machine shop at Quality Parts for over 12 years. So for head work, turning brake drums and rotors, or resurfacing heads, Cliff Klein at Quality Parts Machine Shop is someone you can depend on for quality work and competitive prices. And remember, we work on domestic and import engines and industrial engines, including diesel and gasoline.
If you have one of these and one of these, you probably have 2 of these, and that could leave you caught in the middle. Now there's a way to get rid of separate policies and possible gaps and overlaps in coverage. Continental Link Plus gives you insurance for your home and your car in one convenient, cost-efficient policy. You get more protection and more value for your insurance dollar, and the convenience of one number to call when you have a claim. And it's as easy as picking up the phone.
The rebirth of a classic, the 1992 Buick Roadmaster, with room for 6 adults, driver's side airbag for safety, and a V8 with electronic fuel injection. The 1992 Bonneville with 4-wheeled independent sports suspension, airbag, and an economical V6 engine. The 1992 Park Avenue with V6 engine, and for the first time, electronically controlled 4-speed automatic transmission with overdrive. And what do they all have in common? They're available to test drive now at Wynn Pontiac Buick GMC.
Welcome back to Hurricane Football Highlights and our segment known as the Senior Spotlight. We've met 16 fine seniors up to this point, and tonight we meet the 17th and final senior, Thane Cochran, number 65, who plays offensive guard and plays nose guard on defense, and has done a great job for us all year long. Thane, I know on offense you play the strong side offensive guard. Tell us a little bit about what your responsibilities are at that position and what you do in our offensive scheme of things.
Okay, well, a lot of times in the plays that we have, I have a crucial block because I'll be either the kick-out man or the log man where the back's supposed to run them through the hole. Or, see, if I kick out the wrong person, then I mess up the play entirely. So a lot of times it depends on me whether I make the right block or not.
Well, you've done a fine job for us, and I know you've played a lot of minutes this year in crucial games and just done a tremendous job. And you've also played some on defense at the nose guard position. I know that's a tough place to play. There's 2 or 3 guys coming at you on almost every play. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing on defense at the nose guard position.
Okay, most of the time when I'm in at nose, I'm usually trying to keep the lineman off of the backers so they can usually make the play. I'm kind of the man who always takes the 2 and 3 men on at a time, so or just make a pile so the linebacker can make the play usually.
You kind of turn the glory over to Raymond and Ricky, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've done a great job at that too. And as a senior class, y'all had a great season. You've got a chance this week to have the best regular season record we've had in at least 10 years. How do you feel about that with the model game coming up, and what are you looking for from the playoffs after that?
Well, I feel the model game will be a real important win for us because, like you said, it will be the most games we ever won in a season. But I feel if we win the model game, we'll go in the playoffs on a good note, and I hope to do well in the playoffs so that, well, I guess.
Well, you got all 5 of them at home. If we keep winning, we'll play all 5 of them at home, and that'll be great. Coach and I were talking last week. It'll be the first time we've played a playoff game in purple jerseys since I've lived up here, and I'm really looking forward to that, and I know y'all are too. And Thane, we're mighty proud of you and the job you've done for us this year, and we wish you the best of luck in the remaining 6 games of the season, okay? And we want to remind all you folks out there that immediately after this show, we'll see the full game replay of the Coosa game, including all the homecoming highlights. And there's a lot to see, and I'm sure you want to tune in for that. And you fans, we want you to make sure that you come out in force this Friday night and cheer these guys on. As I said last week, they're a special group, and they need your support. And when you come to the game, forget your business deals, forget your socializing, come in there ready to cheer and yell and back these Canes all the way. And one other thing we want to remind you of is that the playoffs are coming up. Every person that comes in the gate must have a ticket for the playoff game. Every person that comes in the gate must have a ticket. The Hurricane members and the season ticket holders will have priority on their seats, but you must buy a ticket in order to get in the gate. So we'll remind you of that again at the game this Friday night and then on next week's show also. But we're looking forward to that. And as we go out tonight, we want to look back at all the seniors that we've met this year. We've got the program cover, and as we look over those, we want to call out those kids' names. Number 1, Devin Henderson. Number 3, Derek Richards. Number 8, Tarek Patton. Number 10, Rhett Rutland. Number 11, Michael Robertson. Number 21, LaShawn Darby. Number 23, Chris Pavlo. Number 32, Joe Crane. Number 50, Adrian Harris. Number 53, Raymond George. Number 56, Mike Wilson. Number 65, Thane Cochran. Number 67, Robert White. Number 71, John Malden. Number 72, Elton Cochran. Number 74, Chris Branton. And number 88, Jason Chuck. And that's all the time we have. We thank you for yours. Good night.
Welcome to the high school football game of the week on Cartersville Cablevision Channel 4. Tonight's game, Cartersville versus Coosa. Our sponsors for tonight's game are Auto Parts Company, Gondolier Pizza, Kennesaw College, Ladd Farm Supply, Mission Tire, Morris Food Stores, Department of Langford Insurance, and Prestige Cable. Welcome, everyone, to high school football action here on WBHF and Cable Channel 4 tonight. It's homecoming action this week as we have Cartersville taking on Coosa in their homecoming game, and it looks to be not a real good matchup between two teams. Cartersville's coming in at 7-1, Coosa coming in at 2-6, I believe, and but Cartersville tonight does have a chance to go out and win their first sub-region title in a number of years, and also sew up the chance to have their first home playoff game in at least as long as Coach Mike Earwood has been here coaching at Cartersville High School. So, Charles Bushell, we're looking for a fairly good ball game tonight, we hope, anyway.
On paper, it may be a mismatch, but Coosa is a team that has played tough. The coach, Mike Drummond, says they should easily be 4-4. And I think the theme for Cartersville in this homecoming is home sweet home. They win tonight, they will not have to play on the road no matter how far they go in the playoffs. And that includes, if they go that far, to the state championship game.
That's right, and that makes a big difference. We talked with Coach Mike Earwood about that all through the week, and he told us that, that does make a big difference, having that home field advantage, and they're looking forward to having it throughout the playoffs. If they can win the sub-region title here tonight, they have to win tonight or tomorrow night to clinch that sub-region title. It is not clinched yet, but two teams that Cartersville definitely should beat over the next 2 weeks, and I know Coach Mike Earwood is not the biggest fan of homecoming. He talked about that with us early in the week also. You can see that we've got a lot of the homecoming girls parading around the stands, and we're going to be having homecoming activities coming up right now from Weinman Stadium.
This time we'd like to introduce our senior football players and their sponsors. Chris Branton, sponsored by Alice Sweet. Jason Chubb, sponsored by Kim Prather. Elton Cochran, sponsored by Tasha Gaynor. Thane Cochran, sponsored by Christy Flowers. Joe Crane, sponsored by Stephanie Thomas. LaShawn Darby, sponsored by Myra Apose. Ramon George, sponsored by Terica Maxwell. Adrian Harris, sponsored by Danielle Ross. Devin Henderson, sponsored by LaMonica Green. John Malden, sponsored by Laura Gandy. Tarek Patton, sponsored by Tiffany Gamble. Chris Pavlo, sponsored by Mary Claire Dunn. Derek Richards, sponsored by Cindy Moore. Michael Robertson, sponsored by Bridget Heath. Rhett Rutland, sponsored by Barbara Vaughn. Robert White, sponsored by Lana Tincher. Michael Wilson, sponsored by Tammy Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1991 senior football players and their sponsors. Let's give them a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'd like to introduce our underclassmen queens and their escorts. Representing the freshman class, Beth Black, escorted by Kevin Harris. Heather Hunter, escorted by Daniel Cowan. Carrie Thomas, escorted by Ben Malden. Representing the sophomore class, Allison Fowler, escorted by Byron Alday. Laura Parker, escorted by Brian Moore. Jennifer Vaughn, escorted by Sam Shropshire. Representing the junior class, Jennifer Dittmer, escorted by Jonathan McKay. Courtney Shaw, escorted by Trip Nelson. Karen Thornton, escorted by Guy Taft. Ladies and gentlemen, our freshman, sophomore, and junior class queens and their escorts. Let's give them a hand. At halftime, we'll be introducing our senior queens, crowning our homecoming queen for 1991. Thank you.
And we are still a few minutes away from football action here from Weinman Stadium, and we will come back with more activities after we take this 90-second timeout on high school football from Information Radio WBHF.
No matter what you drive or where you drive it, your Kelly dealer's got a tire just for you. A tire with all the quality of the big expensive brands without the big brand price tag. Get a good deal on a great tire. Get Kelly.
Kelly Tire, sold at Mission Tire Company, where the Wheeler dealers give you a great tire at a great price. 121 South Gilmer Street, Cartersville.
Kelly Tires, a good deal on a great tire.
Welcome to high school football action, everyone. I'm Seth Hopkins alongside Charles Bruchelle. Homecoming night for Cartersville Purple Hurricanes, and we've got some lovely ladies in the stands tonight, the homecoming representatives from all four classes, and we are under a hurricane warning, everyone. The Hurricanes are getting ready to come out of the locker room, and the traditional smoke and steam and what have you being ready to be let off, and they'll run through the paper, getting this homecoming action ready to get underway. And kind of a mismatch on paper, as we talked about earlier. Cartersville coming up at 7-1, and Coosa at 2-6. And like we say, a mismatch.
Here
on
it comes.
paper. But here come those Hurricanes. They want that first sub-region title, and they're coming out of there smoking. Good-sized crowd here tonight at Weinman Stadium, and they're up and on their feet cheering as the Purple Hurricanes get ready to break the paper, and the cheerleaders are having a hard time holding it up. The wind is kind of strong against them.
Speaking of smoking, that's what Mike Earwood wants his team to come out smoking. Of course, they had that great emotional win last week against Pepperell, but he doesn't want them to let up. He is not. If you listen on our radio program as far as coach's comments, Mike Earwood said something, and I hope that's not an omen there, as or maybe that may be a bad omen for Coosa because they ran over the posts and everything. But the key thing that Mike Earwood said is, we don't want to win. The winning is not important. It's how much. We have got to show intensity and really show intensity. That's what's more important. we know we can win. That's not what's important, and I think that's key, and I'm sure he sold that to his team all week long.
Absolutely, and you saw it right there. The cheerleaders were having a little bit of a hard time getting that paper to stand upright, and the players didn't care. They just tore it down, and if you couldn't read it from where you are, it said Halloween is over, but here comes your worst nightmare, and that's what Cartersville will hope to do here tonight. And Coach Earwood obviously hoping to clinch that first sub-region title in the years that he's been here coaching and get home field position for that first playoff game since he's been here. Cartersville deferred on the toss. They won the toss, but they'll defer through the second half, and that'll put the Canes defense on the field first. We've seen that work for and work against the Canes this year.
Well, not only that, as far as deferring and letting their defense go first, we talked about weather may be here a factor for the very first time this year. Well, the rain's not going to be a factor, but there is a rather gusty wind. Cartersville decided to take the wind, so they'll have it on their backs the first and fourth quarters.
And we'll see if that will be a factor. Kevin Henderson teeing it up at the 40-yard line for Cartersville. As you heard earlier in our broadcast, the only change from Cartersville's normal lineup, Chris Roberts will be playing at one of the wingback spots in place of Devin Henderson, who is injured, and he was injured last week in that game against Pepperell. Henderson puts the ball at the 40-yard line. It's going to bounce at about the, it's going to be taken at the 25, across the 35, the 40, the 45. He's got an opening at the 50-yard line. He's finally brought down, and that's number 34 out there.
Joe Montgomery, who actually is their starting linebacker. He is not one of the starters on offense, but he may play a lot of offense after that run. He played very well, and this is something that's unfamiliar for Cartersville's defense, is having an opponent start inside the 50-yard line.
And a bit of a change for Cartersville this week. They're going to see a wishbone. We haven't seen much out of any of the teams that Cartersville's played this year. And it's a very tight wishbone right up on the line of scrimmage. They give it to Jeff Van on the first play. He's going to be knocked down at the 45. He only got about 2 yards after the 28-yard run back on the kickoff. And that was Rogers on the carry. Rogers running up on the left side of that bone. He'll pick up 3 after they finally spot his forward momentum, bring up 2nd down and 7. Coach Earwood said he expected Coosa to come straight out of the chute and just run it straight up the field, right up the gut. Cartersville has defended that well this year. Pepperell had 1 drive up the middle against them last week, but other than that, Cartersville has played well against the run all season. This time they give to the fullback, Kirk Cowan, and he picks up another 2 or 3 on the play, and I'll bring up about 3rd down and 3. And they will be content to pick up 3 yards of carry and just move the chains every 4 downs. Coach Earwood expected that, and it's going to be 3rd and 3.
Chad Freeman with the keeper. This is pretty much what you would consider a true wishbone. They call it a power bone, which to me would indicate that they use their fullback a little bit more often than what a normal wishbone would, but they haven't had Kirk Cowan yet. They're going to throw now on 3rd down.
3rd and 3. They drop straight back and they throw it down the field. Pass was intended for number 45 out there. That's Bernard Halsey. He's their great tight end. A lot of people talking about him all around the state and around the southeast, but he does not come up with that grab. Good defense by the Canes on that play. And they drop back and threw the ball on 3rd down and 3 and had a man open. Halsey just barely had it go off his fingertips. Halsey's being looked at very seriously by both Georgia and Clemson. They're lining up in the wishbone. Darby is back like he's expecting a punt, and now they fake out of the wishbone, and they're going to go to a punt formation. They're going to have to get it off or they're going to have too much time. They do get the punt away, and it was almost blocked by Raymond George. The punt's going to bounce at about the 17. It's going to roll dead at the 15. George hit the punter slightly with his chest, but there was no call on the play. It was incidental contact, so Cartersville will go ahead and take over 1st and 10 at their own 15-yard line, and that's about as deep as they've taken over on their first possession this year.
Almost. This is an unfamiliar position, especially for their first possession, and particularly here at home. I think every home game that they've had, they've started inside the opponent's 50-yard line. We'll see whether they can march 90 yards on their very first drive.
Regular double wingback formation for Cartersville. Darby is the fullback. They give up the middle to Darby. Darby fights ahead for a couple before he is knocked back by number 44, Keith Rogers, and number 22, Crockett Ledford, the strong safety, coming up to help make the hit. As we said, Chris Roberts, the only change from the normal offense. He'll be playing for Devin Henderson. Henderson will see some playing time tonight. Talked to Coach Mike Earwood before the game. He said Devin will see a couple series in the first half and a couple series in the second half. And they've got Silas Ritchie in there right now playing at that wingback spot. And he's played well in some spots this year. Played real well last week. Had a great block on the touchdown pass that won it for Cartersville. On the option now, they give it to Ritchie. He is nailed for a big loss. He's going to lose 5 or 6 yards on that play. He got thrown on that play.
And that was Mr. Halsey. That's Bernard Halsey. We talked about his prowess on offense. He's not too bad of a defensive player either. He really read that play.
Canes get a generous spot on the play. It's back to the original line of scrimmage at the 15. They'll have 3rd down and 10. About 9 minutes to go in the first quarter here from Weinman Stadium on homecoming night. Cartersville and Coosa locked up in one here. Nothing in the early going. Again, the double wingback formation for Cartersville. They've got Robertson to the wide side of the field. Darby the lone setback. Patton comes in motion. They give up the middle to LaShawn Darby. LaShawn Darby rumbles out to the 20 before he's finally brought down. And that'll bring up a punting situation on 4th down and 5. Pavlo will come out to do the punting chores for the Canes. And not a real impressive series of downs there for the Canes.
Well, if we get into a situation where it's going to be 3 and out, Cartersville right now with the wind at their back could get a little advantage if Pavlo can get some decent punts.
He's hit a couple of long ones this year, but most of his have been in the 20 to 30 yard range. And that one's a pretty good one. It bounces across midfield and out at about the 48-yard line. About a 32-yard punt on that one.
With help from the wind.
And that'll bring the Coosa Eagles out to start at 1st and 10 at the 48. Again, good field position. This is pretty close to where they started on their first series of downs. We're not able to pick up a first down against the stingy Canes defense. Had a couple of good running plays, but on their 3rd down play, pass was dropped by Halsey, their great tight end. And they bring it out in the power I. All 3 backs are within 4 yards of the ball, lined up in a very tight I formation. They give it to Rogers again. Rogers just sticks his head in there, and he is pushed back beyond the line of scrimmage, and he'll lose probably a yard or so on the play.
We've got Richards, Malden, and Harris all in on the tackle that time. 2nd down and still 10. Coosa's coach, Ron Drummonds, is very upbeat. He has just a really, I think, 4 seniors who start. He's got 3 sophomores in his starting lineup, mostly dominated by juniors. They could be a team to watch next year.
Have an interesting call here. They're going to go ahead and call a timeout with 2nd down and 10 facing them. So we'll take a quick 30-second timeout here on high school football action, and we'll be back right after this.
To make a point about total brake service with Wagner brake products. Because this car received total brake service using Wagner brake products, I knew it would stop in time. Now my assistant will stand in front of a car that has just received a bargain brake job.
Wagner brake products, sold at Auto Parts Company, North Tennessee Street, Cartersville.
Welcome back to first quarter action here from Weinman Stadium in Cartersville, Georgia, where we have the Cartersville Purple Hurricanes and the Coosa Eagles locked in a sub-7 AA matchup here for you tonight. Cartersville looking to win their first sub-region title in a number of years. Haven't been able to find out exactly how many. Coach Earwood said he was trying to look back in the records, and he thinks it's somewhere between 15 and 20 if you go that far back. And Coosa right now has its 2nd down and 10 at the 50-yard line. Again, they run the keeper. He's going to pick up about 5 yards on the play, closer to 6 before they knock him down. Got in there behind his front line, and the quarterback, Chad Freeman, picked up about 6.
That was a good run, but also had really shabby tackling if you really want to get down to it. Cartersville should have stopped him well ahead of by the time that he actually ran.
All right, that'll bring up 3rd down and 3. Last time they had this, they threw to their tight end, Halsey. Interesting offensive line play for Coosa. They've got all their guys down a 4-point stance. You normally only see that on defense, and we've got some type of official timeout here. Not sure exactly what it is. Officials meeting in the middle of the field over the ball, and maybe something with the time or exactly what down it is or whatever, but they've got it straightened out now. Got 6:55 left to go here in the first quarter, 0-0. As I was saying, Coosa's, all their offensive linemen are down on a 4-point stance. Normally you only see offensive players doing that, but it gives them a good lunge off the ball. 3rd down and 3, they run the option again on the keeper. Freeman's got about 10 yards on the play as he gets down to the 32-yard line where he's going to be knocked down, and he picks up close to 12 on the play, and he'll have an easy first down for Coosa as they're moving the flags. Spotted at the 33 finally, and Coosa will have it 1st and 10 there. First down for either team in the ball game. Finally brought down on that play by Belknap was Freeman. This time they switch out of the power I, and they've got a I formation. They give straight up the middle to the fullback, Kirk Cowan, and he picks up about 3 on the play. Those offensive linemen just firing out of that 4-point stance, just lunging forward and knocking the tacklers off their feet long enough for the guy to hit the hole. And they're just picking up 3-4 yards of whack. And as Coach Earwood told us earlier in the week, they would be content to do that, and it would be Cartersville's job to stop them from doing that. They have not run outside the tackle yet.
I'm sure Cartersville will make some adjustments, but the question is, will they be able to make some adjustments before Coosa scores?
2nd down and 7 again. It's Freeman on the keeper, and he picks up 4 or 5 on the play. Bring up another 3rd and fairly short. They'll have about 3rd and 3 again. They converted last time. It'll be closer to 4 after they spot this one.
Freeman has done a good job. He tucks inside the tackles. You'll notice some of the wishbone quarterbacks, they're probably a little bit faster, like to turn that corner. Freeman's just been ducking inside, but that's where he's been getting all his yardage.
3rd down and 4 now. 33-yard line. Coosa Eagles with the ball. Again, Freeman on the keeper. No, he gave it to the up-back Cowan, and he rumbled forward for about 6 on the play, and he'll have another first down inside the 20.
Well, we talked about Montgomery being the linebacker and showing some good running ability when he ran the opening kickoff. Well, he took that fullback dive and got another first down for Cartersville, and maybe this will be their wake-up call.
We'll have to see, as they've got another first down, and again they switch out of the I-bone. They've got a man over on the right side, split out wide, give it up the middle again, and this time they only get about a yard or so on the play, if that. And Rutland, the kicker, over on the sideline, doing a little bit of stretching here for the Purple Hurricanes. Kevin Henderson on the tackle for the Canes that time. He got about a half a yard or so. We'll make it still 2nd down and 10. Ball spotted right at the 20-yard line. 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter here, and it's pretty much what we expected from Coosa here tonight. They're just grinding it out on the ground right up the middle of the field. Back to the wishbone formation now. Freeman under center calling the signals. At the 20, 1st and 10, they give to Keith Rogers, and he is stopped also right at the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing there, so Cartersville starting to stiffen once the ball got inside what they call that red zone inside the 20. And he didn't get anything at all on that one. In fact, he lost a couple of inches or so, and it'll be 3rd down and 10 from the 20.
We've talked about Cartersville's defense all year long. When they've had to make the great play, they have done it. When they've had the Titan, they've done it, particularly last week against Pepperell.
Again, they split a man out wide on a wingback this time. They've only got 2 guys in the backfield. Freeman drops straight back, looking over on the right side. He's got a man open, but it's going to be overthrown. Pass was intended for Bernard Halsey again, and it was just out of his reach. He had come open as he had Tim Green in single coverage on him and had just a step to the outside of him, but it would have taken a great pass to hit him.
Green disrupted the play just a little bit as he bumped Halsey just to the point where he couldn't get to the ball. And so it's going to be 4th down. It looks like 4th and 9. It would be a 37-yard field goal into the wind. So I have a feeling that Coosa probably won't kick a field goal. Doesn't look like their field goal unit is out there.
They're going to go ahead and try it. You're in 4-down territory here. A punt doesn't do you any good, and if your field goal kicker can't make it from there, you might as well go ahead and try it. Wide receiver split both sides of the field. He's going to throw it again for Halsey, this time in the end zone, and Halsey catches it, and we've got a penalty. pass interference on Belknap, it looked like, and he caught the touchdown anyway.
But will it be on Belknap or will it be on Halsey? Because Halsey pushed, it looked like. So we're going to find out who it's against. It could be against either one, and apparently it is going to be against Cartersville. No, it's not. Wait a second. Wait. Oh, okay.
It was against Cartersville. Belknap did have his arms on Halsey, trying to keep his arms down, not letting him get up and get the pass. Halsey's much stronger, a much bigger player than Belknap, and he just got behind him. Belknap was trying to hold his arms down, and that doesn't work. We've got the old swinging gate play out here where we've got all the guys lined up on one side of the line of scrimmage, and they're going to run a fake. They're going to run the option to Halsey. Halsey's going to be stopped. He didn't even get close. Chris Roberts comes up to make the play, or Derek Richards, rather. Derek Richards on the play. And they stopped that one cold. So it's 6-0, and the officials are still conferencing. We might have a penalty, and I think we do have a penalty. I didn't see it flagged down. But we've got
too many men.
Too many men on the field for Cartersville, so they'll get another shot at it.
This is not a good start for the Hurricanes, and Mike Earwood can't be happy right now. This is probably the worst start that he would like his troops to play. Of course, Coosa's not a Pepperell, so you've got plenty of time to catch up. But still, this is not what you want to do because you've got playoffs 2 weeks away, and you want to improve every single week. Can't have any letdowns now.
You see a lot of college teams run this play where they have everybody over on that side of the line, and they're going to try the same play again. And the quarterback tried to get in there and just was not able to. It was a good play again by Derek Richards. And Ricky Heath also coming up to make the play. So it's 6-0. Coosa out in front. 3.5 minutes left to play first quarter. Back right after this.
Anytime you buy one delicious pizza, you get a second pizza for free at Gondolier Pizza in the Cartersville Crossing Shopping Center. But at Gondolier, we offer more than pizza, including delicious tuna salad plates, Greek salads, and a wide selection of sandwiches, including plain grilled chicken, chicken strips on pita, or steak on pita. Gondolier Pizza, Italian dining at its best, and you eat in or carry out. Gondolier Pizza, a proud supporter of high school athletics.
Coosa jumps out on front here, 6-0, and what we said earlier in the ball game about this not being a real good matchup, well, throw that out the window.
Well, we said on paper, that's why they play it on the field. Coosa had really nothing to lose by going for fourth down. They're 2-6, so they don't have to play the percentages. It was a good move by Ron Drummond. And also, because they got the touchdown on it, it gives his troops a little bit more confidence and probably makes Mike Earwood a little bit nervous because you don't want a team staying close into the third and fourth quarter. They will think they can win.
And it's a low line drive kickoff. Mike Robertson calls for the fair catch and go ahead and takes it at the 28-yard line. That's where Cartersville will take over. I think he got a little bit scared on that one. He wasn't real sure he had time enough to return it. It turned out he would have, but he went ahead and did the safe play and went ahead and made the fair catch signal, took it at the 28-yard line where Cartersville would take over. They trail 6-0.
John Woodard getting his instructions from Coach Mike Earwood, signaling the play out, and here we go. The first play of scrimmage on this particular drive.
1st and 10, the Canes will start at the 28-yard line. Silas Ritchie goes in motion. They give it to Patton on the wingback counter across the 30 to 35, and he is just barely caught on the ankle by number 11 out there. And I don't have him.
Number 11 is Derek Boykin. He's a defensive back, or listed as a defensive back for the Coosa Eagles.
And he saved a touchdown on that one because Tarek Patton had an opening and could have gone another 15 yards or so. As it is, he picks up 9 or so on the play. They're close to a first down. They're going to come out and measure this one and see how close he actually was. Looked like he was just shy.
We talk about Tarek Patton. He's one of those players when he touches the ball, you hold your breath because it looks like he's about to break it almost every single time.
And they must have not had that chain stretched all the way out there on that far side because he had it easily. by a good length of the football and then some. So Cartersville moves the chains for the first time, and they have their first down of the ball game with 3:15 left in the first quarter. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line, rather. Woodard takes the snap, and again to give the Patton. Patton this time is going to be met and thrown back for a loss. Number 34,
That's
Joe
Mr. Montgomery again.
He's played a whale of a ball game already tonight. Had a big kickoff return to start the ball game. He ran another one for a first down, and that's his second or third tackle. And they threw Tarek for a loss of about 1.5 or 2. It'll be 2nd down and 12 for the Canes.
And he hasn't just made tackles. He's made ground meat into the opponents. He had that huge run when Silas Ritchie caught that pitch out a little while ago.
2nd down and 12. Woodard drops straight back. He's got a man open, and Mike Robertson doesn't come up with it. Hit him right in the shoulder pads and went right through his arms. Tarek Patton was looking up like, I thought that ball was intended for me. It went right over his head, and they hit Robertson on a quick slant. He would have been close to the first down, but just had it bounce off the shoulder pads.
One of those things where he had 2 receivers in basically the same area and may have been better off to throw it to Tarek. He would have had a better angle. And now we hear the war chant. Maybe that'll get Cartersville going.
They need something. 3rd down and 11. Double wingback set. Chupp is the wide receiver to the far side. They fake the give to both the backs. Woodard drops straight back. He's going to tuck it under and run for his life, but he is going to be thrown down for a big loss. Big sack.
Bernard Halsey and the scouts that are here tonight, I'm sure, are liking what they're seeing right now from this big guy. That's a loss of 7.
And it's going to be 4th down and 18 for the Canes, folks. 2 minutes left to go first quarter. They trail 6-0 against Coosa. That's right. I said they trail 6-0 against Coosa. Low snap. Pavlo corrals it. Gets off a fairly good punt. Line drive right to the 37-yard line. They run the reverse, and it is broken up by Kevin Henderson.
Henderson smelled it all the way. It was Van handing off to Crockett Ledford, and he didn't slow down whatsoever. As soon as the handoff was made, Henderson was right there. Kevin had such a great game against Pepperell last week from a defensive end. He made a couple of sacks, and he seems to be, just like Cartersville had been up to right now, the first quarter, improving with every game.
Coosa brings him out once again in the wishbone formation. Give up the middle, and nothing there again for Cartersville. They're starting to unravel the mystery of this wishbone formation. And as they unpile them, we see Malden coming out of the bottom of the pile, made the tackle for Cartersville. And no gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10. About 1:15 left to go here in the first quarter. Coosa out in front, 6-0. They're going from our right to left in all white. Cartersville in their traditional gold pants and purple jerseys going from left to right. 6-0, a minute left to go in the first quarter. Coosa now breaks it into a semi-bone, and they give straight up the middle to Van. Van fighting his way across, or Cowan rather, Kirk Cowan on the carry across the 35 to the 37. Ricky Heath on the tackle for the Canes. They pick up about 3 yards or so on the play. It'll still be 3rd down and 7. Inside a minute left to play in the first quarter. They should get this last play off before the clock runs out.
It appears that Cartersville's defense is stiffening up. I think we'll really see as far as how well they've adjusted when Freeman takes his quarterback option, because that is when they've done an awful lot of damage, and they haven't really stopped that yet.
20 seconds left to go in the first quarter. They bring it out with a wingback to the right side, half of the wishbone in the backfield. Wide receiver to the far side. They give it up the middle once again to the up back.
And Montgomery gets nowhere.
Montgomery nowhere on the play, and might have got a yard or 2. That'll bring up 4th down and 5. They went for it last time. We'll see what they do here. Freeman checking out with Coach Drummond. Haven't seen anybody new come in from the side. Now they do. They bring in 4 new guys, so it looks like they'll go ahead and punt. And the quarter has run out, so we'll come back with that 4th down play right after we take this 30-second break on high school football action.
They seek glory with a prolate spheroid. Sunday nights, these gladiators come ready to play.
Well, I tell you what, this is all cooking.
On Sunday
Sunday nights. Nobody plays the NFL like TNT. Regular season NFL football starts September 1st.
Get ready to start the second quarter of action here from Weinman Stadium. The Coosa Eagles lead the Cartersville Purple Hurricanes 6-0 here at the start of the second quarter. Coosa coming in here at 2-6, Cartersville at 7-1. And again, they're in this wishbone formation with all the upbacks, and they switch out of it to go to a punt formation. They're certainly keeping the Canes off balance with all these switching formations. Canes finally drop 2 guys back and get ready to field the punt and block for LaShawn Darby as he takes it at the 30-yard line across the 35. We got a penalty flag down. He's at the 40, across midfield to the 40, cuts back to the 30, and he is down at the 28-yard line. But hold on, we've got a flag back there in the area where it's usually clipping or hitting from behind or something like that.
Coosa has just made all the right decisions, all the right moves so far in this first quarter. It is going to be a clip, and it negates that great run by LaShawn Darby. Even as far as the punt, they waited until the end of the quarter to go ahead and punt in the second quarter with the win at their back. They're going to now have that win for the second and third quarters, and what Cartersville was hoping to be an advantage has not turned out to be an advantage.
And that is 15 yards from the spot of the infraction, not from the end of the play. The play was down here around the 30-yard line, and the flag was thrown at about the 35. They march them back, and they're going to spot the ball right at the 20. So that is a hurt me penalty right there. That cost them a good 50 yards.
Maybe all of this will start getting Cartersville angry and wanting to take it out on Coosa. You just can't flick a switch and suddenly start playing. They're going to have to really make some adjustments and just go at them.
First and 10 from the 20. We've got movement on the line, and one of the Coosa players came across, and we'll have to wait and see if it was John Malden that drew him off or one of the other linemen.
I believe it's going to be defensive offside, and that's exactly what it is. So it's 1st and 5 now for Cartersville, and that may help them out. Now they only have 5 yards in which to get a first.
Shane McPherson did a good job that time. He was the end on that side of the field, and when the player jumped, he stood his ground and caused a defensive penalty on that one. So 1st down and 5 for the Canes at the 25. They've got 2 wide receivers to the far side. LaShawn Darby, the lone setback. Patton goes in motion to give to Darby. Darby across the 30, cuts back to 35, had blockers, but was tripped up finally for the Eagles by Crockett Ledford.
Ledford made a good stop, but Darby rambled through, and he gets a good gain, enough for a 1st down.
Canes move the chains as they take it up to the 35-yard line. Inside 11 minutes to play in the second quarter. Cartersville trailing Coosa 6-0. Canes now in their traditional double wing set. Silas Ritchie now the man in motion. They fake to give to Patton, and he's going to be sacked. Woodard was hit hard and sacked in the backfield. They're going to lose 6 on the play. Great sack that time as coming charging in for the Eagles
is number 62. As soon as we find him, that's Beaver Packer. And they're playing a lot of different players. Ron Drummond was really not sure who his starting lineup was going to be this morning. And he's made a few adjustments, and every one of them has gone right. He is just right now pushing all the right buttons, and it is 2nd and extremely long.
2nd and 15 to be exact for Cartersville as they have it at the 30-yard line. Patton now in motion to give to Darby up the middle. Darby across the 35, across the 40, 45, 50. One man's got him a chance to beat him, and just barely knocks him down. Number 20, that's Jeff Van. Barely got him from behind and pushed him forward enough that he lost his balance. If he could have got away from him with just a little bit burst of speed, he'd have gone all the way. But as it is, he gets it down to the opposite 35-yard line. A pick up a 30 on the play for LaShawn Darby. Great play.
And it appears now that Cartersville's offense is starting in the offensive line now, starting to open up some holes, and we'll see if this gets to the point now where Cartersville can get that big mo going for them, because right now that M-word has been all on the side of Coosa.
Ritchie and Patton, the 2 wingbacks. Darby, the lone setback. Ritchie goes in motion. Fake to give to to Darby, and they hit Patton. Patton across the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Tarek Patton. They faked to give up the middle of LaShawn Darby, and they just hit Tarek Patton on the out as he went from the wing back straight down the side of the field. One man had a chance at it. He jumped up, waved at the ball, didn't get it, and Patton was gone down the sideline, just turned on the jets and said, see ya, I'm tying this ball game up.
And what a pass by Woodard. Woodard laid it right into his hands. The defensive back tried to sort of gamble, and it was a great pass by John Woodard, who seems to be getting better from that passing every single game.
Hit him in stride, never had to break stride, and just kept his momentum going towards the end zone. And Rhett Rutland is on to try and put the Cartersville Purple Hurricanes in the lead. The snap, the hold, and the kick are all good. Cartersville leads this ball game 7-6 with 9.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Back with more high school football action right after this 30-second break.
Morris Food Stores are different from other area convenience stores. They have 4 locations: on I-75 at Red Top Mountain Road, at 411 North, at the Cass White exit, and in town on US 41 north of Moon Street. The Red Top Mountain and US 41 locations have live bait the year around. Morris's stocks a terrific line of souvenir items, including the biggest selection of beer steins in this area. Low gasoline prices, a great snack bar. Morris Food Stores are the most convenient stores.
The Cartersville Purple Hurricanes finally break on top here about a third of the way through the second quarter. They're up 7-6 over the Coosa Eagles in their homecoming game. Took Cartersville a little bit of time to get themselves kick-started, but they look good on that drive as a big 30-yard run by LaShawn Darby and about a 35-yard touchdown pass.
35-yard touchdown pass, and who would have thunk it? The 2 touchdowns so far from 2 running teams have both been in the air.
Absolutely. Kevin Henderson puts his foot to the ball at the 40-yard line, a high end-over-end kick. It's going to come down at about the 22, bounces to one of the upbacks. He picks it up, goes across the 30, where he's going to be knocked down by Fane Cochran.
And Cartersville is waking up. Good, vicious hit there by, I believe it looked like Michael Robertson there for the Purple Hurricanes. It's now at the 35-yard line for Coosa. And let's see now if they can start to get their motor running again, because Cartersville's defense now starting to show why we've been raving about them all year long.
This is the worst field position they've had, and they're starting at the 30 now. 1st and 10 at the 30. 9:15 left to go second quarter. Wishbone formation. They give up the middle to the fullback, Joe Montgomery, and they're playing at the fullback position that time for the Eagles, and he doesn't get anything. In fact, Raymond George probably threw him for a loss of about a yard or so. It'll be 2nd down and 11. As we said, a lot of players getting a chance on the field tonight for Coosa. Montgomery, as we talked about earlier, is a starting linebacker, and he's playing some at fullback tonight.
They're going to actually give him a gain of almost a yard, but still, that's a long ways to go on this defense when they're really motivated.
Had some generous spots here in the first half for both teams. Again, they give up the middle, and he breaks away. He's going to...
That's Freeman
across the 50. See if anybody from Cartersville can catch him. Patton's chasing him down, and at the 10-yard line, he finally brings him down as it was all piled up in the middle. Freeman had kept the ball, was running behind his fullback who he'd faked it to, was stopped on his feet, and finally burst through. Nobody had a shot at him. Tarek Patton just turned on the jets and was able to bring him down from behind, saved the touchdown. But Coosa's got the ball at the 10-yard line, 1st and 10.
That's a 60-yard run. What's going to be interesting is Freeman, I'm sure he's tired after that run. He's not used to those long runs, and will he be able to, for instance, hand off this particular time? Hey, all right. Way to go, Greg.
Robert Richards on the sideline, you saw just a moment ago, getting some ice on his neck. He may have injured that on a play earlier that we didn't catch. Coosa, 1st and 10 at the 10, out of the I formation. They give the ball up the middle, and he's going to score. Touchdown. Touchdown, Coosa. Joe Montgomery scores another touchdown for Coosa, and he wasn't even touched as he went into the end zone from the 10-yard line. That puts Coosa up 12-7 on the Canes. And a few of the fans on the far sideline are up and cheering, as a very sparse crowd on the far side following the Eagles. But those that are over there are up and cheering their Eagles.
We're going back to the swinging gate. As we talked about the fans, they could be saying, hey, boy, did you miss this?
This time they bring the swinging gate back to the middle of the field, get ready to kick it, but everybody was all confused, so they'll go ahead and take a timeout before they try and kick this one. So we'll take 30 seconds here on high school football action and be back after this.
Kelly not only builds a great tire, they give you a good deal. On the highway, around town, or off the road, Kelly quality gets you there for less. Best of all, they're on sale right now.
Kelly Tires, sold at Mission Tire Company, where the Wheeler dealers give you a great tire at a great price. 121 South Gilmer Street, Cartersville.
Kelly Tires, a good deal on a great tire.
Back to high school football action here at Weinman Stadium, and a fairly stunned crowd, I guess you could call it, here on the Cartersville side of the field as they're saying, hey, what's going on? We were supposed to kill these guys, and we're trailing 12-7 with 8 minutes left to go in the second quarter. They're getting ready to kick an extra point.
Coosa was 1-9 last year, and everybody thought that was going to be basically the same team. Coosa really has only been, I think, blown out of 1 or 2 ball games. Ron Drummond says his team should be 4-4 instead of 2-6, and they've played competitive all year long. They played Pepperell fairly well. So this is not a lousy team, and Cartersville better start realizing that.
I believe the Pepperell score was 14-0 or 14-7.
I believe it's 14-0.
14-0, and one of those plays was on a fumble in their own end. It should have been 7-0. They're going to go for the two-point play here. Freeman drops back in the end zone, and he hits a wide-open man in the end zone for the two-pointer, and that was Freeman catching it.
Andy Duck, the tight end, and he was just totally wide open, and it is now 14-7. You can see it right there on the scoreboard, in case you didn't believe me.
So we'll take another quick 30-second timeout, and we'll come right back with the Cartersville Purple Hurricanes getting the ball after this.
Is the right time for hydro seeding, and Ladd's Farm Supply is your right contact for hydro seeding for commercial and residential needs. Ladd's is also your home for railroad ties and a complete line of fencing supplies and gates. Ladd's Farm Supply at the intersection of New Harley and Burnt Hickory Roads for your landscaping needs, farm supplies, and a complete line of livestock supplies. Ladd's has it.
Some of the beautiful sights from Weinman Stadium. This is homecoming 1991, and unless Cartersville gets on the ball, this is not going to be a very good homecoming night.
Right now they trail by 7 points with 8 minutes left to go in the second quarter, 14-7. Another high kickoff. This one's going to be taken at the 20-yard line by Tarek Patton. Patton breaks across the 30. At the 35, he's going to be sandwiched and brought down at about the 32-yard line. Number 85, Britt Sims, making the initial hit for Coosa. Cartersville will start at 1st and 10 at the 32. And they'll see if they can march it down and tie it up. We've got 8 minutes left to go before we come up with halftime activities. And stay with us at halftime as we'll have the naming of the King and the Queen for homecoming 1991 here at Cartersville High School, Weinman Stadium. Woodward leads them out, 1st and 10 at the 32. Got the double wingback set, Darby the lone man, Richie in motion. They run the option. Woodward's going to keep it. Woodward brings up about 8 yards on the play before he was finally bulldogged from the back. Joe Montgomery coming up with another big tackle there as he just jumped on Woodward's back and brought him down.
And I believe we're going to see more of Woodward in the offense. He was almost non-existent as far as a rusher last week during Pepperell, though he had that great pass that won the ball game to Michael Robertson. We may see more of the quarterback option from John tonight.
Robert Richards is still on the sideline, and the doctors are still working on him. Maybe some type of neck injury or something like that. Back on the field, though, they give it to Tarek Patton on the counter across the 45, brought down close to midfield. They're going to spot it at about the 47-yard line. 48 make it, and that gives them enough for the first down. Inside 7 minutes to go before we get our halftime activities kicked off, and Cartersville's got another first down. Mike Robertson running the play in for the Canes. John Woodward calling it out for his team, trying to get them up and get them down the field as they trail 14-7 right now. They got 2 wide receivers to the near side this time. On the option again, this time it goes to Darby. Darby split out, gets it across the 50, the 45, cuts back to the 40, stumbles once across the 30, and he's going to be knocked down inside the 20 at about the 15-yard line. And a saving tackle there by Kirk Cowan, along with number 81, Andy Duck, who caught that 2-point play. They knocked Darby out of bounds, but it was a long run for LaShawn Darby. He was in that wingback spot. We saw that a couple of times last week against Pepperell, where they ran the option, Darby coming from a wingback rather than his normal fullback spot. Canes will have it 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. It's about a 48-yard play, or a 38-yard play there for Darby. At the 15, they give it to Patton. Patton trying to break inside, but he's got nowhere to go. Joe Montgomery again on the tackle, and we've called his number a bunch of times.
We talked about all those college Scots looking after Halsey. I think after this game, they're going to be impressed with this young man. 2nd and 10 now for the Canes.
As we mentioned, there are a lot of college scouts here tonight, most of them attracted by Halsey, but they're also looking at everybody else here, I assure you. 2nd down and 10 now for the Canes. Silas Ritchie goes in motion to give up the middle to, no, they give it to Ritchie. Ritchie's going to be thrown for another loss of about 5 yards on the play. They'd have been better off if they'd have given it to Darby up the middle, but Woodard pulled it back out and pitched it to Ritchie. Ritchie lost close to 4 on the play.
It would have even been better if Woodard just kept the ball, because it would have been no gain instead of a loss of 4.
So it'll be 3rd down and 14 from the 19. 5.5 minutes left to go before we get to halftime. And the Canes have got to come up with a big play here. Coosa came up with one on 4th down and 10 from the same spot and scored a touchdown on it to open their scoring. Again, the double wingback set. They've got Chubb to the far side. They fake it to Patton. Woodard's going to keep it across the 20, the 15. He's fighting his way to the 10, and he is brought down after a gain of about 10 on the play, but they needed 14. They're going to be about 4 yards shy, and they're going to send on Rutland. It looks like they're going to go ahead and try for a field goal. Got him closer and got him in the middle of the field, which will make it easier for Rutland. He's going to put the tee down at about the 17 to make it a 24-yard attempt, or the 27-yard attempt, rather, for Rutland. He's kicked a couple this year.
And we talked about the wind. It's starting to gust up just a little bit again.
Not blowing directly in his face, but a little bit left to right, and he kicks it right through the uprights. Easy field goal there for Cartersville. Makes the score 14-10. Cartersville still trails by 4. We'll be back with more right after this.
Kennesaw State College is now taking applications for the winter quarter. Deadline is December 3rd. Registration is December 19th. Kennesaw's low-cost, flexible schedules, and close proximity make a college education convenient. Call the Office of Admissions today, 423-6300, 423-6300. For the record, it pays to be a Kennesaw State College graduate.
Welcome back to homecoming 1991 at Weinman Stadium, and the fans are all bundled up here in blankets, and I think they need those blankets. Some of them aren't wearing that many clothes, and a lot of dressed up people here tonight for homecoming, and really a festive atmosphere until the game got started, and now it's rather subdued with Cartersville trailing 14-10. We still got 4.5 minutes to go though before halftime. And on the kickoff, Halsey's going to take it. He just goes straight up the middle of the field. He pushes the entire pile back 8 yards. He was hit at the 30. He finally fell down at about the 40, and he pushed the entire pile back a good 8 yards.
And that pile included 10 Cartersville Purple Hurricanes.
He is a tough, tough player.
40-yard line is first and 10 for Coosa at their own 40.
Coosa takes over with just about 4 minutes, 10 seconds left to go in the second quarter. They'll have it 1st and 10. They lead by 4. We'll see what they'll do, if they'll try and hurry up and march down the field, put another score on the board, or if they'll just keep it on the ground, grind it out, and say if it happens, it happens. If not, then it doesn't. On the first play, the ball's on the field, and it looks like Cartersville might have it. But Cowan came up with it. Ball was loose on the field. Cowan just jumped on it and ended up gaining almost a yard on the play. Raymond George jumped on him afterwards. Looked like a fumbled exchange there on the handoff.
It was a quick handoff to the fullback and just never developed. And Cowan showed some quick reflexes as he quickly went onto the ball and recovered it for Coosa. Averted potential disaster for the Eagles on that particular play.
And they're not showing any signs of being quick about calling the next play. Finally, they let the clock run down, then they call a timeout.
And that's their third and final timeout of the half.
They let the play clock run down until it was getting close to a penalty, and then they called timeout. So with 3:18 left to go in the second quarter, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with the final 3 minutes and 18 seconds of this one after this.
If you have one of these and one of these, you probably have two of these, and that could leave you caught in the middle. Now there's a way to get rid of separate policies and possible gaps and overlaps in coverage. Continental Link Plus gives you insurance for your home and your car in one convenient, cost-efficient policy. You get more protection and more value for your insurance dollar, and the convenience of one number to call when you have a claim. And it's as easy as picking up the phone.
Call Parman or Langford Insurance today. 3:18 left to go before we get ready for our homecoming halftime activities. And the Cartersville Purple Hurricanes right now trail the Coosa Eagles 14-10. Coosa has the ball near midfield at about the 41-yard line. They'll have it second down and 9 when we get ready to start play once again.
Ron Drummond's in his first year as coach of Coosa and showing he's a bright young coach. He has made some awfully good calls as far as some of the plays, and it has caught Cartersville off guard.
We'll see what they call here on second down and 9 from the 41 out of the wishbone formation. They hand it straight up the middle, and he breaks free across the 45 down to the 40-yard line. Again, it looked like they had him stopped. Everybody was just kind of jumbled up in the middle there, and finally just broke free and picked up 15, 16 yards, close to 20 on the play. And we've got an official timeout as they move to change. We've also got an equipment problem there. One of the Coosa Eagles having a problem with his helmet. It looks like Halsey. And he's getting that worked out. And they start the clock ready for play once again after they move to chains. 3:10 left to go here in the second quarter. And after the 21-yard gain, they'll have it first and 10 inside the 40. Chance to get close enough for another score. Halsey's still working on his helmet as he comes to the line, and they get ready to call another play. Once again, they give it up the middle, and this time Richards is stopped and finally knocked down. And a little bit of pushing and shoving going on in the play there. Devin Henderson getting into it. We talked about him earlier in the ballgame that he was injured and might not see any action. And he certainly saw some on that play as he and Billy Davis exchanging a few words after the play was dead. They pick up about 2 on the play. It'll bring up second down and 8. And again, they're not making any effort to really hurry it up here and call another play and get to the line. We're inside 2.5 minutes left to play.
That's plenty of time. That's 6, 7, 8 plays and 39 yards to go. That's a drive.
Again, they split up the wishbone and set a man out to the wide side in a wing formation. They give it to the wing coming back through. That's Jeff Van, and he gets nothing on the play. Might have picked up 1 or so as he leaned in at the line on second effort. And he was stopped by that interior defense. Derek Richards and Adrian Harris on the stop, along with Kevin Henderson, rather. Pick up close to 2 on the play. Make it 3rd and 7. And again, they're just taking their time about it. 1.5 minutes left to go. Freeman had gone all the way over to the sideline to talk to the coach, Drummonds. Comes back in with the play himself.
They're going to have to hurry because the play clock is going down and they have no timeouts.
1:25 now on the clock. And again, still not making any effort to hurry it up. They snap the ball, and they run it on the option play, and Freeman is going to be thrown for a big loss. Guess who? Kevin Henderson. Big defensive play right there. They throw him for a loss of 4 on the play. It'll bring up 4th down and 11, and Cartersville calls a timeout. There's still 1 minute and 9 seconds left in it, and Cartersville will get the ball back, hopefully, and they'll have a minute in which to try and do something with. Rutland still down on the sideline, warming up his leg, hoping maybe he'll get another chance to kick another field goal and bring him within one if they can't get the touchdown.
It would have been a gamble, but I thought maybe that Cartersville should have called that timeout on 3rd down. But then if Coosa makes a great play and gets a first down, it gives them extra time. So that would have been a gamble. But they now looks like they're going to be able to get the ball back quickly and with 1:09, and we've seen some good runs by the Purple Hurricanes. If they can get the ball in decent field position, they could be able to get in position for a field goal or even score.
Chilly night here tonight, and the cheerleaders, and most of them have the sweatshirts on, and a lot of the fans, as we said, bundled up in jackets and blankets. A lot of the girls out here in evening gown dresses will be taking part in the homecoming halftime festivities, and they're all trying to stay warm here on the sidelines as well. Back on the field of play, though, it's 4th down and 11 for Coosa, and again, they're in their wishbone formation. They've faked out of this twice to the punt, and they do again. As Andy Duck drops back, gets ready to punt. LaShawn Darby is the deep man, and they came on the block, and they didn't get it. The ball is going to be knocked out of bounds. It went out at about the 22. That's where Cartersville will have it. They came on the rush that time. Kevin Green was one of the guys who got close. They didn't quite get it, though. And Cartersville will have 1:04 to try and go 78 yards and get something on the scoreboard before they go into the locker room.
With 2 timeouts and the fact that they will have the clock stop while they move the chains for each first down, that is plenty of time for Cartersville. We saw Pepperell move 60 yards in 30 seconds, so it can be done.
And don't forget, Cartersville had a 55-yard touchdown pass last week, too, so it's not out of the question. They send 3 wide receivers out to the far side. Woodard throws it, and he hits receiver complete at the 35-yard line. And
Jason Chupp is the receiver, but maybe a flag on the play, and there is. We don't know exactly where the flag originated. It appears it is against Coosa.
Looks like the flag is down here on the near sideline. If it is, that would be some type of face mask or late hit, and that's exactly what it's going to be. I think it must have been a face mask on Chupp when they brought him down on the sideline, and that'll give him another 15 from the end of the play, and that'll bring him out close to midfield, if not across midfield. And they march it down the field, and he's going to stop at the midfield stripe. Cartersville will have it at midfield. That only took 6 seconds off the clock. They've still got 58 seconds. So they pick up 17 on the pass and 15 on the penalty. 32-yard play. 39-yard play. Woodard drops straight back. They got 2 wide receivers to the far side this time. He tries to stiff arm Halsey. He gets away from it, throws it downfield, complete at the 35-yard line. Ball was complete down to the 30.
That is the sign of a team that is a playoff caliber right there. John Woodard was hit. We've got a timeout. Woodard was hit and managed to bounce out and threw a great strike to Michael Robertson.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with the last 48 seconds of this first half right after this.
No matter what you drive or where you drive it, your Kelly dealer's got a tire just for you. A tire with all the quality of the big expensive brands without the big brand price tag. Get a good deal on a great tire. Get Kelly.
Kelly Tires, sold at Mission Tire Company, where the Wheeler dealers give you a great tire at a great price. 121 South Gilmer Street, Cartersville.
Kelly Tires, a good deal on a great tire.
Coach Mike Earwood still out on the field talking to his players, and they've been impressive the last 2 plays. They threw about a 15-yard pass to Jason Chupp. They added a 15-yard penalty onto that, and that brought him out to midfield. Then they threw another 20-yard pass. That one went to Mike Robertson down on the sideline. Had Tarek Patton also out there in the same pattern. And the defenders just got a little bit mixed up. Woodard did a great job getting away from Halsey. Halsey had him in the backfield. Woodard stiff-armed him, ducked away from him, and was able to get the ball off. 2 wide receivers down to the near side. They fake to Patton. Woodard's got back, and he's not going to get away this time. He's sacked at the 40-yard line. Great defensive play in the backfield by a pair of Coosa Eagles, Billy Davis and Beaver Packer. We talked about the fact that Packer is not a starter, and yet he's played well tonight. He's come up with a couple of sacks. And Mike Earwood's going to have to call another timeout. Is there second down and about about 17 or 18 yards they'll have to go for a first down with 38 seconds left to go in the first half. Let's take another quick break, and we'll be back with more after this.
I'd like to make a point about total brake service with Wagner brake products. Because this car received total brake service using Wagner brake products, I knew it would stop in time. Now my assistant will stand in front of a car that has just received a bargain brake job.
Wagner Brake Products, sold at Auto Parts Company, North Tennessee Street, Cartersville.
Woodard drops straight back, rolls to the left side, got a man open, overthrown. Well, they started the play early on us that time, and John Earwood rolled out, had a man open on the left side. It was Mike Robertson, but he overthrew him by a couple of yards.
Hit the referee instead.
So Cartersville will have it third down, and they're marking it a third down and 20 from the 38-yard line of Coosa. Still 34 seconds left to go here. Cartersville's done a good job of keeping the clock on their side and not letting a lot of time run off between plays. They called a couple of timeouts there. They had an incomplete pass stopping the clock on that one. But they need to get the first down, and they got to go 20 yards for it. Woodard again rolling out. He's being chased, and he's going to be thrown down out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Let's see if they mark him out of bounds or if they're going to keep the clock running. And they're going to say he was down inbounds. The clock is still running. They've only got about 20 seconds left. Cartersville trying to line it up quickly and get another play off before the half ends. Clock now at 15. And it's fourth down and a good 30 yards to go. Down inside 10 seconds. Woodard's going to have to hurry. 5, and doesn't look like he's going to try and run a play. And they go ahead and they let the clock run out. Cartersville just lets it run out. They could have gone ahead and taken a shot at the end zone there, but they just said, let's go ahead and go to the locker room and talk about this one, folks. So Cartersville goes off the field in their homecoming game down 14-10 to Coosa. And we were hoping we'd have a good ball game in this one. It didn't look like a good matchup on paper, but it is shaping up to be a whale of a football game as Coosa leads at halftime here at Weinman Stadium 14-10. We're getting ready for halftime activities. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll have the homecoming king and queen and the homecoming court here from Cartersville High School. Of course, the band from Coosa will be taking the field first, but we'll come back with all our halftime activities, and Charles Rochelle will have our stats right after we take this 90-second break.
Anytime you buy one delicious pizza, you get a second pizza for free at Gondolier Pizza in the Cartersville Crossing Shopping Center. But at Gondolier, we offer more than pizza, including delicious tuna salad plates, Greek salads, and a wide selection of sandwiches, including plain grilled chicken, chicken strips on pita, or steak on pita. Gondolier Pizza, Italian dining at its best, and you eat in or carry out. Gondolier Pizza, a proud supporter of high school athletics.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Weinman Stadium. We're getting ready for halftime festivities here on homecoming weekend. They're moving the arch out in the middle of the field at the homecoming court. We'll march through, and we'll have the announcement of who's going to be our homecoming king and queen here for homecoming 1991 for the Purple Hurricanes. Ed Vosberg is standing by. He's the MC for our halftime activities, and we'll be joining him as soon as everything is in position and ready to go for homecoming as they're getting the archway set up and the band majorettes getting in position, the band getting ready to come on the field.
The 1991 Cartersville High School Marching Band.
And the band getting ready to march on the field for Cartersville. And they'll bring it out and get in position and start playing, and then we'll have the homecoming court introduced by, as I said, Ed Vosberg, who's emceeing the festivities here tonight, and has not been a real festive one here on the football field yet, as Cartersville trails 14-10. But we're just going to sit back, relax, and let the band take over for you here and enjoy the halftime festivities.
Yeah, I was out there in left field over right where they did all them home runs. I couldn't do it then.
our 1991 Senior Homecoming Queens. Jennifer Cantrell, daughter of Terry and Lou Cantrell, is escorted by her father, Terry Cantrell. Jennifer is a 4-year member of the Homecoming Corps, 3-year member of Varsity Cheerleading Squad, past member of the Junior Varsity Cheerleading Squad where she served as captain. Recipient of the MVP Junior Varsity Cheerleading Award, 4-year member of the tennis team, region runner-up in doubles in 91 and 90, state runner-up in doubles in 1991. 1-year member of the softball team, member of Who's Who at American high school students, class president of freshman and sophomore years. Jennifer is a member of the Safety Club, Spanish Club, and Art Club. Recipient of the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Award. She's a member of the Hugh Harley Baptist Church where she serves as pianist and was voted Youth of the Year in 1991. After graduation, Jennifer plans to attend college and major in pre-med. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Cantrell. Anna Coleman, daughter of John and Diana Coleman, escorted by her father, John Coleman. Anna is a 3-year member of the varsity cheerleading squad where she serves as captain. Recipient of the Academic Cheerleading Award, past junior varsity cheerleader, vice president student council her junior year, 1991 junior marshal, member of Mu Alpha Theta and the Art Club, 2-year member of the Chipper staff, currently assistant editor, 3-year member of the academic honor roll. After graduation, Anna plans to attend either Auburn or Clemson University and choose a profession related to math or science. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Coleman. Tomika Hope, daughter of Charles and Myrtle Hope, escorted by her father, Charles Hope. Tomika's activities include member of the Art Club, member of the Spanish Club, member of the Town Center Teen Board, member of the Chipper staff. She serves as church secretary. After graduation, Tomika plans to attend Spelman College and major in business. Ladies and gentlemen, Tomika Hope. Deidre Solomon, daughter of Kenneth and Deborah Solomon, escorted by her father, Kenneth Solomon. Deidre's activities include a 4-year member of the Homecoming Corps, vice president of the senior class, 4-year member of the student council, member of Who's Who among American high school students, 2-year member of the Chipper staff, assistant editor of the Chipper staff, 3-year member of the varsity cheerleaders, captain of the varsity cheerleaders, freshman and sophomore class favorite, member of the Spanish Club, received MVP Junior Varsity Cheerleader Award, a 2-year member of the girls track team. She participated in the Georgia Young Woman of the Year pageant, attended Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church where she sings in the choir. After graduation, Deidre plans to attend Spelman College and major in pre-law. Ladies and gentlemen, Deidre Solomon. April Worthen, daughter of Gary and Martha Worthen, escorted by her father, Gary Worthen. April is a member of the Who's Who among American high school students, 2-year member of the Homecoming Corps, 1-year member of the Executive Council, 2-year member of the Chipper staff. She serves now as assistant editor of the Chipper. She is a member of the Art Club, voted class favorite, nominee for 2 years. She's a member of the St. Francis Catholic Church where she teaches religious education. After graduation, April plans to attend the University of Georgia and major in pre-med. April Worthen. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1990 homecoming queen, Miss Holly Spinner, daughter of Chuck and Sandy Spinner, escorted by the Cartersville High School principal, Mr. Bibby Morgan. Holly is a student at the University of Georgia, was our 1990 homecoming queen at Cartersville High School. She is here tonight to crown our 1991 queen. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the 1991 homecoming tween for Cartersville High School, Miss Deidre Solomon.
Congratulations to Deidre Solomon and the remainder of the court of 1991.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take another quick 90-second break while they get the field ready for play, and the band will march off the field. The members of the homecoming court exchanging hugs out at the middle of the field, and Deidre Solomon accepting the winner's crown. And a very festive affair for all the young ladies involved in that. As the Cartersville High band goes off the field, we'll take that quick break, and we'll be back with the start of second half action right after this.
They seek glory with a prolate spheroid. Sunday nights, these gladiators come ready to play.
Well, I tell you what, this is all cooking.
On Sunday nights, nobody plays the NFL like TNT. Regular season NFL football starts September 1st.
We've got our halftime festivities here on Homecoming 91 all wrapped up, and all the girls involved in the homecoming court getting escorted off the field by their parents. And once again, the winner was Deidre Solomon. She is the homecoming queen for 1991 here at Cartersville High School. And the Canes are back out on the field. Let's see if they've solved the mysteries of the Coosa Eagles in there at halftime with Coach Earwood. And as he comes on the football field, he does not look like a very happy person, and I don't blame him one bit.
No, I don't either. Coosa has played an awful, very well, and you've got to give them credit. They came out with a great game plan. They do have some good players, and their good players have played exceptionally well. But at the same time, Cartersville has not come out to the same type of enthusiasm they've had over the last 3 weeks, particularly last week against Pepperell, and they've got to realize they cannot have a letdown. They are this close to the playoffs, this close to hosting the playoffs for the rest of the way. They cannot let this slip away.
Absolutely right, and we said when we talked to Coach Mike Earwood earlier in the week, he told us that two things, not only the big game against Pepperell last week and coming off that big emotional high, getting that tough win, but also that this week was homecoming, and he's not a real big fan of homecoming by the way he talked. A lot of the hoopla surrounding the game may take the kids' attention away from the task at hand, which is winning the football game, and I understand they don't have a real good history of winning homecoming football games. And right now they trail 14-10, getting ready to kick it off here in the second half. But as we talked about at halftime, the third quarter has been the one that the Canes have scored most of their points this year in a lot of their ball games.
And they've done it in spurts too. So we'll see if that happens here.
And Cartersville is going to kick off, and they want their defense back on the field again. They deferred the opening kickoff and gave Coosa the ball, and they're kicking off again here in the second half.
We'll see if that strategy works. I'm not sure about that, but we'll find out.
Cartersville was offsides on the kickoff. They'll have to back it up 5 and try it again from the 35 from pro distance this time. Kevin Henderson will have to try it again to get this second half underway. The official finally picking up the laundry on the field and gets it back in his pocket, and we're ready to try it again. Kevin Henderson getting ready to kick this second half of action off here from Weinman Stadium. High school football action here on WBHF and Cable Channel 4. Glad to have you all along tonight.
See all those stars on Kevin's helmet. That's from good plays. He'll have a couple added tonight. He's had some good defense.
And he kicks it out of bounds, so they'll back it up another 5. That wasn't such a good play. They might have to take one away for that. I don't know.
He won't get a star for that one, that's for sure.
I don't know if it works that way or not, but we'll back it up another 5, and third time's always a charm, they say. We'll have to see. Kevin will back it up from the 30. Doesn't kick the ball very deep as it is when he kicks from the 40, and now they're backing him up another 10, and he's disgusted with himself. He's kicking the tee back to the 30. And just more good news for Coosa as they're going to get another 10 yards of field position when they finally do get this football and get ready to kick it off. I'm surprised Coosa didn't go ahead and take that ball. They have the option. They can take the ball where it went out of bounds and start there. That one went out at about the 38 or so. They could have started there. They're hoping they'll get even better field position than that. And he's finally ready to kick it again. So from the 30-yard line now, they'll try it. And he kicks a high over end-end kick, and it's going to be taken to the 25, fumbled at the 30, picks it up and gets it across the 32-yard line before he's finally snowed under. And that was Halsey again. He fumbled it once at about the 25, picked it back up, and only got about 7 yards on the return.
Hit by a number of players. Michael Robertson was the first one on the tackle there for the Canes.
So, as we said, Coosa would have been better off to take the football where it went out of bounds on the kick before, as it was a fairly good kick, and Halsey never got his hands on it to get a run back started. And they'll start at the 32-yard line. And they'll have it 1st and 10 from there. Just underway here in the second half. Cartersville 10, Coosa 14. Handoff straight up the middle. And Cartersville stops it on the opening play of the second half. That was Kirk Cowan. And he didn't get hardly anything on the play. Might have picked up a yard or two. We'll have to see where they spot the forward momentum. They're going to give him a gain of about 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Eagles. And the Eagles come scurrying out. We talked about in the first half, they've got all their offensive linemen in a 4-point stance. You don't see that a lot. Most of your offensive linemen are a 3-point stance, but they've gotten good surge up front. Freeman on the keeper. Freeman across the 35, close to the 40. He's going to pick up about 4, close to 5 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd down and short again. It'll be 3rd and 2.5 or 3 for the Eagles.
And he's still been able to get 4 or 5 yards on that inside keeper. As we've mentioned, most wishbone quarterbacks like to turn the quarter. Of course, Freeman doesn't have that kind of speed, so he ducks inside, and he's been able to get good 4 or 5 yard gains each time.
And he got 60 on one play in that first half, set up their 2nd touchdown. As he just got jumbled inside there, they had a pile up, and he bounced off the pile and went 60 yards. Almost went all the way. Again, they break up the I. They've got a wing back to the right side. 3rd down and 3. Again on the keeper to the outside, and he's going to pick up enough for the 1st down. That time he did go to the outside and picked up 5 yards, enough for the 1st down. Gets it out to the 45 for the Eagles. Move the sticks once again.
Devin Henderson there with the stop, but not before Freeman gets the 1st down. They are now on their own 45, and they will take their time. The clock right now is on their side.
They lead it by 4, and they'd like to lead by 11 or 12 if they can go ahead and put it in the end zone.
This is the time where Cartersville has to start sucking it up on defense and cause a fumble or an interception.
From the wishbone, and there's a fumble for you right there, but Freeman gets back on it. Cartersville fighting with him, trying to get the ball away from him, but nothing doing. He just wrapped it up and got in that fetal position like good coaches will tell you. Just pull it in, get your knees and your elbows around it so nobody can get away from you. And he lost a couple on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 11 and a half or so.
Well, they did cause the fumble. What I meant to say is they've got to recover the fumble or the interception. So we'll see if it happens the next play. I seem to be a good luck charm there for the past couple of weeks. If I say they're going to need to make a good defensive play, they've done it. So we'll see if it happens this time.
Cartersville's in a fairly tight defense. They've got 8 guys up close to the line of scrimmage. They did this last week against Pepperell as well. Another fumble, and they didn't get this one either. I think Freeman got back on that one too. Cartersville saying they have it, but I don't think so. Freeman got back on it. Raymond George was the closest one to it. He just didn't get there quick enough. Well, Charles, you're 2 for 2, but they still haven't got one. But it's 3rd down and 15 for the Eagles. 3rd and 15, and this is a big defensive play for Cartersville. They need to make sure that they don't get the first down. They can give them 7 or 8 yards, but not enough for the first down. The Eagles have gone for it a couple of times on 4th down. One play that they scored a touchdown on was 4th and 10. Of course, that was from the 20-yard line, not out here near midfield. 3rd and 15 from the 40. Freeman barks the signals, drops straight back. Kevin Henderson all over him. He gives it up. It's intercepted. Going back the other way is Tim Green. He's going to go all the way. Tim Green across the 20 to 10. Touchdown, Tim Green. On the interception return, Kevin Henderson forced that interception. He was all over the quarterback, stormed in untouched, made Freeman get rid of it, and he threw it right into the arms of Tim Green. Green never let up. 50-yard touchdown return for Tim Green, and that was a big defensive play that Cartersville needed on that one. That puts them up 16-14.
We've mentioned this. It's almost like they want to be behind or be very close in the 3rd quarter so they can go and just turn it on, and it's been the defense that has done it.
The snap, the hold, and everything else is all good as Rutland puts the extra point through. Cartersville breaks on top to start the second half, 17-14. Back with more second half action here from Weinman Stadium after this.
Mars food stores are different from other area convenience stores. They have 4 locations: on I-75 at Red Top Mountain Road, at 411 North, at the Cass White exit, and in town on US 41 north of Moon Street. The Red Top Mountain and US 41 locations have live bait the year around. Mars stocks a terrific line of souvenir items, including the biggest selection of beer steins in this area. Low gasoline prices, a great snack bar. Mars food stores are the most convenient stores.
Number 45, Bernard Posey, taking off for Cartersville, number 33.
And the Purple Hurricanes score the first points of our second half on a 42-yard touchdown return by Tim Green. And just a great play. We saw that last week against Pepperell. I mentioned that Cartersville had 8 guys up close to the line of scrimmage. They did the same thing last week. They dared the other team to throw the football. When they threw it, Cartersville came up with the interception and made a big play. On the kickoff, it gets between 2 players at the 10. It's finally picked up by Van. Van is going to be snowed under at the 10. So another special teams big play right after a big defensive play, and that's going to change the mo for you right there.
Yeah, Coosa that time was not the confident bunch that they were in the first half. Nobody wanted to pick up the football. It went in between everybody, and by the time it was picked up by Van, he was deep in there and really didn't get a chance to turn upfield.
8:08 left to go, 3rd quarter. Cartersville leads this one 17-14. And they've got the Eagles deep in their own territory. The ball spotted at the 12-yard line. And that's where they'll start it, out of the I formation. Freeman checking off with his backs to make sure they've got the right play call. On the keeper, he tries to go around right side, and they were expecting it. He gets maybe a couple on it.
And that is the first time all night that they have really, truly stopped the quarterback run option by Freeman as he loses almost a full yard.
They threw him back, and Cartersville got a good spot on that one. They do give him a loss of 1. And it'll be 2nd down and 11. They're deep in their own territory. Ball spotted at the 11-yard line.
Cartersville's defense, when they really, really get intense, is probably as good as anybody in the state, and Coosa realizes that they need a timeout.
So we'll take a timeout as well. Back with more 3rd quarter action in this one after this short break.
Kelly not only builds a great tire, they give you a good deal. On the highway, around town, or off the road, Kelly quality gets you there for less. Best of all, they're on sale right now.
Kelly Tires, sold at Mission Tire Company, where the Wheeler dealers give you a great tire at a great price. 121 South Gilmer Street, Cartersville.
Kelly Tires, a good deal on a great tire.
And the bright lights of Cartersville off in the distance as we get ready to start play once again here from Weinman Stadium. Cartersville finally breaks on top here to start the third quarter in this one, 17-14 on a big touchdown return by Tim Green. And now they've got Coosa backed up deep in their own end. It's 2nd down and 11. And once again, they break out of the bone. They've got a wide receiver to the far side. They got motion everywhere in the backfield. Finally, they give it off to Halsey coming from the tight end spot, and he is snowed under. And everybody got a shot at him that time. Belknap and Henderson and Raymond George and Ricky Heath and even John Woodard, I think, got a lick in him on that time.
And you're seeing the intensity of that defense again. They were really fired up. They jumped on Halsey, and when they got up from that play, they were all fired up. They are now turning on the juice.
3rd down and 8 now from the 13-yard line. They got to be careful they don't get a piling on penalty there. They were close to one that time with everybody coming in, jumping in at the last second, wanting to get a shot at that guy. But they're going to have to be careful not to get too overzealous. We've seen that happen a couple of times earlier in the season. 3rd and 8 now, another big play. Cartersville's got everybody up fairly close. They dropped 3 guys back in coverage. Freeman's going to try and tuck it under, run for it, and he's going to be, again, snowed under. A bunch of Canes got out there and got on him. Leading the way was Chris Branton, and he had some help from Tim Green and Raymond George and Kevin Henderson, everybody else coming up to make the hit, but Branton was the one that made the initial one and forced him out of the pocket. They picked up a couple of 3 on the play. It'll still be 4th down and 5, though, and I'd be surprised for them not to punt here. They still line up in the wishbone formation. Everybody standing up, though, on the line of scrimmage. We'll be surprised to see them do anything different down so deep in their own end zone. Andy Duck's going to drop back and punt. LaShawn Darby standing at his 45. Cartersville's going to come out of this with fairly good field goal position if Darby can come up with this when he catches it right at midfield. Gets a good block, gets across the 40.
And he's got a hole.
Cuts back, and he's going to be knocked down at the 30-yard line. Got a great block out there from Tim Green, who hit the first guy down the field, and that sprung Darby for a 20-yard punt return. Cartersville's going to take it over right at the 30-yard line.
Montgomery finally making the stop for the Eagles, but not before Cartersville now in great field position. And when they've always almost all the times this year, when they have started in the opponent's side of the field, they score, and they score a touchdown.
They've certainly been a team that likes that short field. They get the good field position. They always like to convert it. They give to Patton on the counter. Across the 30, the 25, the 20. Cuts back. He's going to go. Tarek Patton, but we've got a flag down, folks. Hold it. 30-yard touchdown run by Tarek Patton, but we've got a penalty, and the Coosa Eagles are pointing at Cartersville. And that's going to be too bad. If it's going to be in Cartersville, it will be. It's going to be a clip. They're going to call it back. And that's too bad because Tarek was wide open. He really didn't need any extra help. It looked like he was going to score easily, and somebody just tried to help him out a little bit too much, and he got the clip. Coach Mike Earwood is shouting at the officials saying, hey, the guy turned around after he hit him.
If there was a clip, it was nowhere near where Patton was.
Coach Earwood is trying to tell the official that the player pushed him in the front, and that's what turned him around, and the official might have caught the tail end of it where the guy was falling down, and one of the Canes might have been falling on his back or something like that, but he doesn't get any satisfaction.
Tarek will get credit for a 10-yard run, as it was the infraction was at the 20, so they move it back 10 yards, and the ball right back where they started at the 30.
And it'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 30. They give it now to Darby. Darby up the middle, and he picks up about 4 on the play. He gets shoved back after he got close to the 35. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 6 or so for Cartersville. Darby tough running that time and got shoved back. Excuse me, that'll be 2nd down. Missed it down there on the penalty as it was 1st down and play it over again after they spotted it back on the infraction. It's kind of a weird play. After they brought it back on the penalty, it was still 1st down and 10. Woodard on a straight flare pattern hits the receiver, and that's Mike Robertson. He catches it inside the 20 at the 17-yard line, and that looks like it's going to be enough for the 1st down. They'll move the chains. Cartersville just ran that little quick out pattern. They've had a lot of luck with that pattern tonight.
They certainly have. That is a 9-yard gain, 1st down, and Woodard now 4 for 6 in passing.
Cartersville now has it 1st and 10 as they overcome the penalty, and they'll have it at the 18-yard line, 1st and 10. Double wingback set. They've got Ritchie and Patton in the wingbacks. Ritchie comes in motion. They give to Darby up the middle. Darby's going to score. Darby scores easily, untouched. Just broke through the line. Great blocking up front by the Canes. Opened that hole wide open, and Darby just danced through for the touchdown. We said at halftime that the third quarter had been the friend of the Canes all season, and we've only played about 8 minutes here. They've already put 2 scores on the board.
For Coosa, it is fast approaching midnight for this very game Cinderella team.
Rutland comes on, and he'll try and add the extra point. Pavlo the holder. It's 23-14, 4:15 left to go in the ball game, and Rutland kicks it high enough, but it is wide to the left side. So Cartersville will keep it at 23-14. They lead it by 9 points, and we'll be back with more third quarter action right after this.
Is the right time for hydro seeding, and Ladd's Farm Supply is your right contact for hydro seeding for commercial and residential needs. Ladd's is also your home for railroad ties and a complete line of fencing supplies and gates. Ladd's Farm Supply at the intersection of New Harley and Burnt Hickory Roads for your landscaping needs, farm supplies, and a complete line of livestock supplies. Ladd's has it.
And we get a big hello from the cheerleaders here at Weinman Stadium as we come back to action. They're all waving at us up here in the press box and at our Channel 4 cameras we have along. Glad to have the Channel 4 production team with us tonight.
And the cheerleaders right now have a lot to be happy about.
They certainly do, as Cartersville has scored twice here to start the third quarter. And Kevin Henderson ready to kick it off once again. High end over end kick once again. It's going to be taken at the 25-yard line, and a great play for Cartersville made by Kevin Henderson once again. Kevin Henderson all over the place tonight, especially on defense, and he hit Joe Montgomery right after he caught that ball at the 25. Kevin Henderson doesn't kick that ball deep, but he kicks it up in the air, lets the coverage team get a chance to get down there and make something of a play on defense.
Now, there hasn't been any real long kicks, but then there hasn't been any real breakaways for any of the returners this year.
I think the longest one was the one Montgomery had to start the ball game tonight. He returned it about 35 yards, and they started at midfield. That's the best field position anybody's had to start on a kickoff against Cartersville this year. They have it now 1st and 10 at the 27. Give the ball up the middle, and nothing doing once again. Kirk Cowan might have 1 or 2 on the play, and he's just shoved back. Cartersville defense now has finally figured out this wishbone, and Coosa has really been able to get nothing going here in the third quarter offensively.
And I think another thing, we talk about the third quarter as we've got an official timeout right now at this point for equipment. We talk about the fact that Cartersville has owned the third quarter. A lot of, when you have a large offensive line, you start wearing the teams down. I think that's what Cartersville does. Their defense wears the offense down, and that's why they do so well in the second half.
And I think we finally got our problems straightened out on the field. We're ready to declare this one ready for play once again. And a lot of our younger fans enjoying themselves here at this one tonight. Homecoming 1991 for the Canes. The Eagles right now not enjoying it on the field, though, as they have 2nd down and 7 from the 30-yard line. 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter. From the I formation, they give up the middle. He breaks across the 40-yard line, the 45, knocked down at about the 47. Keith Rogers breaks out of there, and just as we were saying, Cartersville finally had him figured out and we're stopping him. He breaks out of there for 16 or 17 yards on the play, enough for a first down, and gets it out close to midfield.
That's his best run of the evening, one of the halfbacks out of that bone. And another official's timeout.
Got some equipment problems out there. This time it's a shirt that's been torn up, and they're going to make him go off the field and get another one. That shirt is just absolutely ripped up. That's number 66, Billy Davis, going off the field. They have to replace him, and they're going to have to come up with another jersey somehow for him or tape that thing up, as you can't have it hanging free like that.
Yeah, gone are the days of the breakaway jerseys that you used to see, for instance, in college football back in the early 70s. That doesn't happen anymore.
One of the guys on the other side that's injured that had his jersey on gives it up, and we'll have to check and see what number he comes back in wearing when he does come back in. 1st and 10, though, for the Eagles. 2:45 left to play third quarter. Again, they give it up the middle, and again, there's nothing there. Montgomery carried that time and picked up maybe 1 on the play.
Raymond George, one of the Cartersville defenders on the stop that time, as well as Tim Green.
Every week, I'm more and more impressed by Kevin Henderson and Tim Green, number 33 and number 34. When we talked with Coach Earwood earlier in the season, he pointed out that the linebackers, Ricky Heath and Raymond George, were going to carry a lot of the defensive load. but more and more it's been Henderson and Green stepping up. Down on the sideline, we see now that John Woodard is getting a little medical attention. It looks like they're putting some type of a bandage or something over his eye. He might have got hit in that last series, and we'll have to check and see if that affects him when he comes back on the playing field. On the field, it is 2nd down and 8 for Coosa. Again, they go up the middle, and again, nothing there. They pick up maybe 2 on the play. Montgomery, again, they called his number twice in a row. Both times he picked up about 2. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
Adrian Harris there, one of the Canes in on the stop that time. We've talked about, of course, a lot about the linebackers all year long. The defensive line has gotten better each week. John Baldwin, of course, had that fumble run for the touchdown against Pepperell last week.
Joked with Coach Earwood earlier in the week about that when he said it took a couple of days for Malden to get that one in there. They didn't know if he was ever going to get it there as he lumbered down the field and ran that one in. But a big play for John, and I'm sure he was real happy about that one. On 3rd down and 6, they fake up the middle. They throw the ball downfield, and almost a great catch by Halsey.
And it was almost a great interception by Darby as well. Both of those players really put out the effort that particular time. It did fall down for an incomplete.
Thought Halsey was going to come up with a great one-handed catch. Darby came in and knocked it away just as it hit him in the hands. And great play by Darby. I thought Halsey was going to come up with that one. Darby making a good play, though. Once again, they line up in their wishbone, and we've seen them do this all night long and fake out of it into their regular punt coverage. Be interested to see if they do go ahead and run a play out of that sometime tonight. Right now it's 4th down and 6 at midfield, and they go ahead and drop back. Darby the lone setback. Duck puts his foot to the ball at about the 42. Darby comes up and takes it to 23 and gets away from the first man, but he's going to be hit down at about the 20-yard line, about where he caught it. Robert Bell was the one who actually put the hit on him. Jeff Van was the first man downfield. Bell was the one who wrapped him up and got the tackle. Cartersville will start at their 20. That's about the worst field position they've had in the last 6 or 7 possessions.
Here comes John Woodard back in. He had his treatment taken care of. Getting ready to call in the play as we start this drive for the Canes with 1:03, 1:02 left in the 3rd quarter.
Cartersville has 2 wide receivers to the far side. They bring Patton in motion to give it up the middle of Darby. Darby struggles forward to get about 3 on the play, and he was tripped up by Rogers, who had a hold of his ankle and wasn't letting him get any further down the field. 2nd down and 7 for the Canes.
And another great game for LaShawn Darby. He now has 111 yards on 8 carries.
A couple of those carries over 30 yards tonight.
1 for 30, 1 for 38.
Woodard leads the Canes out. 25 seconds left to go 3rd quarter. This will probably be the last play of the 3rd quarter. They've got 2 wide receivers to the far side. They give to Patton as he comes in motion, and he's going to lose 3 as he was thrown for a loss. Great defensive play. Turk Patton's going to lose about 4 on the play. Halsey again with another big play. We talked about him early in the ball game. It had been Montgomery and Rogers making most of the tackles, but Halsey certainly played a great ball game for Coosa as well. And as we talked about, the scouts have been all over him all season. That'll end the 3rd quarter of play. Cartersville still leads it here 23-14 over the Coosa Eagles on homecoming night. And we'll be back with the final quarter of this one after this break.
Kennesaw State College is now taking applications for the winter quarter. Deadline is December 3rd. Registration is December 19th. Kennesaw's low cost, flexible schedules, and close proximity make a college education convenient. Call the Office of Admissions today, 423-6300, 423-6300. For the record, it pays to be a Kennesaw State College graduate.
The score 23-14 to start the 4th quarter. The Cartersville Purple Hurricanes leading Coosa here on homecoming night at Weinman Stadium. And the Purple Hurricanes have the ball deep in their own end. 3rd down and 12 now for the Canes after the loss on that last play. Again, they give it to Patton. Patton on the end, or rather to Darby up the middle. Sorry about that. Ritchie. I'll get it on the 3rd try. Silas Ritchie had the ball as they faked out everybody on that one, well, except for the Coosa defense.
There were only 7 other players that could have chosen it, so eventually you were going to get it anyway.
Ritchie picked up about 3 or 4 on the play. It's going to be 4th down and 10 now for Cartersville. They're going to have to punt from deep in their own end, and we're going to see if Coosa will go after this one. They've got everybody up on the line except for their lone setback. Pavlo get ready to hit the ball at the 15, and he gets a fairly decent punt away. It's going to hit at the 45, and it's going to get a good Cartersville roll. It's going to roll dead at the 41 of Coosa. So a fairly good punt that time for Pavlo, one of his longer ones of the year. That one went 39 yards.
That's right, with the roll, and that certainly helps the Canes at this point, because at the 40-yard line is a lot better than starting inside the 50-yard line.
It only went about 25 yards in the air, but he got a good roll on it, kind of like my golf drives. Get most of it out of the roll. 11 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Cartersville out in front 23-14, and their defense just trying to take this one home tonight against the Coosa Eagles. Coosa again goes up the middle, trying the center of that Cartersville defense. Jeff Van on a carry. He picked up about 4 on his initial surge. They push him back close to the line of scrimmage. They'll mark his forward gain, though, of about 4 yards. John Malden in there, and Adrian Harris shoved him back. Raymond George also came up to help push him back, but he did get 4 on the initial surge. That'll bring up 2nd down and 6. And the Eagles a little bit quicker in their play calling and moving up to the line than we've seen them tonight. Time starting to be a factor in this one, as we've got 10:15 left in the ball game, especially for a team that likes to keep it on the ground as much as they do. Again, they go up the middle with it, and again they get about a yard or so. Cartersville has been tough on that interior defense, just as they have been all season long. Early in the ball game, Coosa moved the ball almost at will on their first couple of drives, but since then it's been all Cartersville's defense.
Certainly has. This has been the pattern all year long for the Canes. When they really get their defense, when their mind really gets set, they are sometimes awesome. Watching them all year long, their defense has just had some unbelievable stretches.
That third quarter last week was one of those. They give him a gain of 2 on the play. That'll make it 3rd and 4. They give to Halsey this time now. He was lined up in the backfield, and he goes, or Montgomery rather. Montgomery and Halsey about the same size, and Montgomery picked up about 2.5 or 3 of the 4 they needed. He gets it close to the first down stick, and that's at the 49-yard line. They're going to swap out a bunch of players. It looks like they're going to go ahead and punt here, or at least try something different. They only need about 1.5 yards or so for the first down, and they trail by 9 points here. Again, they're in that wishbone formation. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for something here, but they do go ahead and move into the punt formation. Darby retreats back to about his 20-yard line. Duck waiting for the snap. It's a low one, and he does get it away. Raymond George made a great effort to try and come up with a block. The ball is going to roll dead at about the 32-yard line. The punter fell down and tried to fake that he was hit by George, but the official was right there on it. George didn't touch him. And the fans starting to live it up here in Weinman Stadium, as we've got 8:35 left in the ball game. Cartersville leads by 9, and they've got the football. Clock running. Cartersville will start at 1st and 10 from their 33. And if they can put on a good drive here, they could take the majority of this clock out of here and go a long ways towards sewing this one up, as long as they don't have any penalties or turnovers.
We've got officials timeout, another equipment problem. Despite the fact that Cartersville is winning, I don't think Mike Earwood would be very happy right now with the results of this game. But if you want to be honest, if there's going to be a letdown, this is the week to do it. You don't want to do it next week against Model, because the following week is the playoffs.
Double wingback set for the Canes. Robertson is the wide receiver. Woodard's going to keep it, and he tries to pitch to Ritchie, and the ball is loose on the field, and I believe Cartersville's come up with it. Great play by Woodard, great hustle. He tried to pitch it at the last second to Ritchie. Ritchie never got it. There was a defensive guy right in his face when the pitch got there. He wasn't able to come up with it, and Woodard got up after being knocked down and hustled to get over there on that football and save that from being a fumble deep in their own end. Boy, that could have turned this one around in a hurry.
Yeah, again, the judgment by Woodard. He's had good judgment most of the year, but he should have kept that ball.
They lost 12 on the play. Back down to the 22-yard line is the Canes. And on the play, they give it to Ritchie again. Ritchie, though, is going to make up for it. He comes across the 35, the 40, out close to a first down. Silas Ritchie with a 22-yard run, and he's right at the first down stick. They may have it.
And that's the first time that Silas has really had a chance to run, because both of the previous times were on pitches where there was already somebody in his face.
That time he ran it up the middle. They've had trouble running it to the outside tonight, especially Ritchie, who has been thrown for a number of losses tonight. And that time he finally found an opening, and he did pick up the first down without even measuring. They're going to go ahead and give the Canes a first down. So again, when they needed the big play, they come up with it. They were second down and 22, deep in their own end, in danger of giving Coosa good field position, and they just burn it out of there. Ritchie on a 22-yard run. They give it to Ritchie again. Ritchie trying to get to the outside. He gets across the 45 to the 50. Finally knocked out of bounds at about the 48, and he's going to be close to another first down. And it looks like they're spotting at the 46. If that's the case, he will have a first down.
Silas serving notice. He wants to be a wingback in 1992 to start. He's had a good year when he's given the opportunity here on offense. Had a sort of an up and down game last week against Pepperell because he was not on the field. They had only 10 players on when they tried the two-point conversion, when Cartersville tried the two-point conversion, but he made up for it with a great block that allowed John Woodard the time to throw the winning touchdown pass last week.
Tarek Patton and Devin Henderson, the two usual starting wingbacks, are both seniors, so that'll give Ritchie a chance next year. On the pass play, Woodard looking downfield, got Ritchie open. Ritchie, though, doesn't come up with it.
Close.
So they had two great running plays by Silas Ritchie, and he got down the field and was open, wide open for the touchdown pass, but just got over his hands, a bit overthrown by Woodard, and Ritchie might have just pulled up a bit at the end of that play. Just didn't get out there. He made a great effort at it. Certainly was open.
Wasn't a bad pass by Woodard. Just a smidgen long.
Looked almost identical to the play last week that set up the winning score for Cartersville as they hit Mike Robertson, who was wide open. Nobody within 10 yards of him last week for the winning score. Ritchie almost came up with one there. They give now up the middle to Darby, though. Darby straight up the field, gets about 5 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Cartersville now starting to go to work on the clock. We've got 6.5 minutes left to go. They lead by 9 over Coosa here. Trying to pull out a homecoming win. And sew up that sub-region title. When we opened the show earlier this evening, we talked about that they were hoping to go ahead and wrap up the sub-region title fairly easily here tonight, but it has been anything but that. The Coosa Eagles have played tough.
They certainly have. They've impressed me. They no quit in them. They've got several very good ball players, and of course Montgomery and Halsey, and in a number of other names that we've called, and they've got most everybody back. So they will probably be one of the teams next year that could have a legitimate shot at the playoffs.
And we've got a timeout on the field. Coosa wants to talk about it as Cartersville's facing 3rd down and 6, and they want to put on a good defensive play here and try and get some of that momentum back on their side. So we'll take a quick 30 and be back with more after this.
If you have one of these and one of these, you probably have 2 of these, and that could leave you caught in the middle. Now there's a way to get rid of separate policies and possible gaps and overlaps in coverage. Continental Link Plus gives you insurance for your home and your car in one convenient, cost-efficient policy. You get more protection and more value for your insurance dollar, and the convenience of one number to call when you have a claim. And it's as easy as picking up the phone.
Call Parman or Langford Insurance today.
And Coach Mike Earwood has finished his pep talk to his players as the timeout was called by Coosa. They want to get ready and make sure they're in the right coverage on this 3rd down play. This may be a real key play in this ball game because there's only 6 minutes left, and if Coosa is going to get back in this one and have a shot to win, they are going to have to hurry up and stop the Canes and get that football back, because you can't score without the ball unless you come up with something big on defense like Cartersville did when they got the interception returned by Tim Green. Woodard out of his normal set, drops straight back, got Jason Chupp open. Chupp across the 30 to 25, and now it'll be a first down for the Canes. Cartersville has had great success tonight with a straight drop, three-step drop by Woodard, and a quick out pattern. The receiver just runs down about 10 yards, turns around and looks for the football. Mike Robertson's caught 2 or 3 of those, and Chupp has caught a couple.
That's the second reception for Jason Chupp, a 19-yard gain. That will put John Woodard at 100 yards in passing.
And it'll give the Canes another first down. More importantly, the clock keeps running. It's at 5:45 left to go in this ball game. Cartersville leads by 9. They've got it 1st and 10 at the 25. They give to Tarek Patton. He's got a blocker out in front. He cuts back to 20, the 15, 10, and he's going to be knocked down at the 8-yard line. Good tackle there for Coosa, saving a touchdown by Brad Cochran, number 56. And Tarek Patton comes up with another great run for Cartersville. Every time he touches the ball, it seems like he's got a chance to score.
Yeah, even if he gets just a 1-yard run, he makes it exciting because of that speed that he's got and the moves. He just has that kind of energy that when he touches the ball, you say, uh-oh.
1st and goal from the 7 for the Canes as they look to add to their 9-point lead. 5 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this ball game. LaShawn Darby goes in motion to give up the middle to Kevin Henderson, who is in there at the fullback spot. He gets twisted all around and finally knocked down. Only a gain of about 1. Darby was lined up in the wingback spot that time. I thought they might give it to him going the other way. But they give it to Henderson up the middle. They may be setting up that play for Darby from the wing. We saw him run that a couple times last week and had great success with it. Tarek Patton getting congratulations on the sideline from the coach and fans and his other fellow teammates on the side for that great run, setting up the Canes. It'll be 2nd down and goal, no gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 7 again. 4.5 minutes left to play in this homecoming ball game for the Canes as they're trying to get out of here with a win. A tough-fought one against the Coosa Eagles here tonight. They do give it to Patton this time, or Darby this time, and Darby scores. I said I thought they might give it to him last play. They were setting something up, and that's exactly what happened as they ran Darby in motion again, and they gave it to him, and he scored. That's been a great play for the Canes, lining Darby up in a wing spot and just giving it to him as he goes in motion, and letting him get his shoulders turned upfield. There aren't many people going to stop him, and he just waltzed in for the score that time, making it up 29-14. Rutland on to try to make it an even 30. This is more of what we might have expected for a score, but it has not been as lopsided as the score appears. And we've got a whistle before the kick. It was blocked, but we've got a whistle before the kick. We'll have to see who it's on. Rutland may get another try at it, or they may have to call a block.
I think it was against Coosa because they were in there pretty quick. They blocked it because they came in early, and that's exactly what it is.
Great job tonight at homecoming. Please give these girls a great big hand.
And the cheer going up here on the near sideline for the middle school cheerleaders who've been here entertaining the fans tonight. A lot of the varsity cheerleaders involved in the homecoming court activities. So the middle school cheerleaders filling in this week and doing a good job for the Canes. So Rutland will get another shot at it, and again, Coosa's offside. Boy, they want to block that thing bad. As they had 2 guys offside again. Looked like Crockett Ledford and Beaver Packer, both offsides again.
Which brings up an interesting, now it's going to be probably set at about the 1-yard line. Would Mike Earwood consider going for 2 to prepare for the playoffs? Not necessarily to run up the score tonight. They're going to refuse. They're just going to leave it where it is.
So Rutland will get another shot at it. Has yet to kick it past the line of scrimmage, as the first one was blocked. That one he never even kicked it. They blew the whistle long before. And no flag on that one. It's up and through. Cartersville makes it 30 even as they lead 30-14. 4:22 left to go in this one. Back with more after this.
No matter what you drive or where you drive it, your Kelly dealer's got a tire just for you. A tire with all the quality of the big expensive brands without the big brand price tag. Get a good deal on a great tire. Get Kelly.
Kelly Tire, sold at Mission Tire Company, where the Wheeler dealers give you a great tire at a great price. 121 South Gilmer Street, Cartersville.
Kelly Tires, a good deal on a great tire. And out of the Hurricane members, we'll
And the fans still bundled up here, enjoying the last few minutes of this ball game here tonight at Weinman Stadium, as Cartersville out in front 30-14, and Cartersville trying to push that score out there where they thought it ought to be tonight coming into this one, but it has not been nearly as lopsided as it appears on the scoreboard. It's a 16-point bulge right now, but Coosa has played Cartersville tooth and nail here tonight. Kickoff comes down at the 20. It's fumbled and picked back up, and he's going to pick up about 8 yards on it before finally Cartersville snows him under. And the band starting to pick it up here on the near side, and cheerleaders getting into it, and a few of the fans starting to head for the exits, thinking that this one is well in hand, but we still got 4 minutes and 18 seconds left to play in this one.
Yeah, stranger things have happened. The game is not over until it's over, as Yogi Berra once said. The middle school cheerleaders still entertaining the crowd. A lot can happen. It is not sewn up just yet, though it certainly does look good for Cartersville right now.
Exactly 4 minutes left to play in the ball game. Coosa 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Give up the middle. And he bulls his way forward for about 8 yards. Kirk Cowan on the play. He gets, they'll mark it a 7-yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd down and 3. 3:40 now to play in the ball game. Canes will be content to give them 5 or 6 yards of play as long as they hold them to that and just run this clock down and get out of here with a win. Earlier in the ball game, looked like this one might come down to the final few minutes, as it was 14-10 at the half. Coosa led this thing, but the Canes in the 3rd quarter exploded and took it back over. Looks like the ball's on the field, and Coosa's going to come back up with it. And a couple of Canes all over the place. We got a flag down. It's going to be an unsportsmanlike, I'm sure, coming in that late on the play. And he's pointing at one of the Cartersville players, and it's going to be against Cartersville. Somebody jumped on somebody there late or said something.
It may have been a word instead of a hit. John Woodard with the referee trying to find out exactly what happened.
I think that's what it was. Somebody said something, and Coach Yearwood trying to find out what it was, too. He's talking to Harris on the sideline saying who said it or what was said or whatever, and the referee comes over and says something to him also. Mike Yearwood still talking to him. It must have been him that did or said whatever it was that caused the penalty. That'll give Coosa a 15-yard penalty, and they'll move it out across the midfield stripe. 1st and 10 at the 49 of the Canes. Again, they give it up the middle. It goes to...
That was Kirk Cowan, and he went nowhere. Raymond George right there.
Got about a yard on the carry. Cartersville up by 16, but still the first-string defense is still on the field for the Canes. They don't want to give up any more points here tonight. They want to keep sharp for the last couple of games and then take that on into the playoffs. It'll be 2nd down and 10 now. 2:40 left to play in the ball game. Freeman calling signals. 2nd down and 10. They give up the middle, and again nothing there. Chris Roberts and John Malden all over him, along with Raymond George, as Keith Rogers was stopped right at the line, and we've got another flag on the field. And I'm sure that's going to be another unsportsmanlike. This time it goes against Coosa. So that'll back them up 15, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 25. As that's a dead ball penalty, 15 yards. So must be some sort of extracurriculars going on down on their field. Looked to be something was said rather than, as you said, a hit or anything like that, because didn't seem to be anything flagrant there at the end of the play.
Well, the flag was thrown as soon as one of the Coosa players walked by the referee. So he said something that the referee did not like. There's been a few little skirmishes here in the 2nd half between certain players from Cartersville and Coosa, and it's starting to go into penalties now.
3rd down and 25. They give it up the middle once again. Jeff Van on the carry. He picks up about 3, so that'll bring up 4th down and 22. And we've only got 2 minutes left to play in this one. Cartersville just, I'm sure, will be content to get this football back, run the clock out, and let's get out of here before anything bad happens or anybody gets hurt. And just count your blessings that you're able to come away with a win here tonight. You hate to ever see anything like that happen towards the end of a football game, but sometimes it does when players get frustrated.
Well, Coosa's players can certainly hang their head high because they played a very good ball game, especially in the 1st half.
Freeman's going to drop back and try and throw for the first down, complete to Halsey. Halsey's going to have the first down, and he picked up 25 yards on the play, or pretty close anyway, and he has plenty for, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stick. He's going to be 5 yards shy. Cartersville's going to go ahead and take over. And I think we lost the down somewhere because they're still saying it's 4th down.
It's 4th and 5 right now.
Somewhere I lost the down, so that'll make it 4th and 5. Give them a chance to go for the first down. Minute and a half left to go in this one. Freeman again dropping straight back. He's got Halsey, and great play on defense for Cartersville by Belknap. Belknap broke on the ball after it was thrown. He wasn't going to be beat twice in a row. He broke in front of Halsey and knocked the ball down before Halsey had a chance to catch it. And that's where Cartersville will take over. Get ready to run the clock out on this one. 1:23 left to play in this ball game. Cartersville leads it by 2 touchdowns, 30-14. And they'll have the ball 1st and 10, try and run this clock out.
We'll see likely maybe 3, possibly 4 plays, and that is it.
And I'll give you a couple guesses what those plays will be.
First 2 don't count, right?
LaShawn Darby, the one with the sure hands, may get it, or John Woodard may just elect to hold on to it here. 1st and 10, 1:23. They give to Darby up the middle. Darby just bulling his way forward, gets a couple, and is going to be thrown back by half a dozen or so Eagles who get there to make the stop. And Darby and Woodard out there reaching and patting on a couple helmets and saying, yeah, good job, good job. Let us go back to the huddle.
That'll push LaShawn's totals. That was I believe, a 3-yard gain. That'll push his total now to 124 yards and 2 touchdowns for LaShawn.
Inside a minute to play.
Next week, of course, for Cartersville, it's Model, the last game of the year. A game that, as far as region or sub-region, won't mean anything, but it'll mean an awful lot because the next week is the playoffs. You don't want to go flat heading into the playoffs. Referees call a whistle. We've got a delay of game against Cartersville.
Cartersville trying to run every second off that clock, and they did at that time as they went ahead and killed the play clock. That'll back them up 5 as they throw the flag after they call the penalty. And it'll be 34.5 seconds left to play. Cartersville has the ball. It'll be 2nd down and 13, but that's rather academic. They just need to run this play, get it inside 25 before they declare it ready to play again, and Cartersville will be out of here with a homecoming win. Patton goes in motion. They give it to Patton. Patton tries the right side. He's going to lose 1 or 2. Clock is going to get inside 25 before they declare it ready for play, and that means Cartersville does not have to run another play. Cartersville is going to come out of here with a 30-14 win over the Coosa Eagles, who played gamely tonight as they led this thing 14-10 at the halftime. Cartersville came back in the 3rd quarter, and again, it was their defense that put this one away for them. The big interception return for Tim Green was the one that really put the nail in it. And there's the clock winding down. 30-14 will be the final score. The Purple Hurricanes headed out on the field to shake hands with the Coosa Eagles, as it was a well-fought ball game by both teams. Coosa has nothing to hang their heads about. Coach Earwood said earlier in the week that Coosa would be playing for a moral victory, and I think they can say that they got one. They only lost by 2 touchdowns to Cartersville. Cartersville moves to 8-1. They will be the 7AA sub-region champion for South sub-region, and they will now have the home field throughout the playoffs. As we told you, even if they go all the way to the state championship game, they will have home field advantage.
That's something Mike Earwood wanted all along. He's happy for that, but I don't think he's real happy about the game. The score, of course, he'll take, but they're, particularly in the first half, very sluggish, and he doesn't want them going down because they have peaked every single week up until this week. He's going to really, I think, have them breathing fire, hopefully, against Model next week.
All right, as the Canes go off the field, we'll take a 90-second break here on high school football action. We'll be back to recap this one for you, and Charles Bichelle will run down all the numbers for you. So stay tuned for that after this.